Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the news scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff. And what movie are we doing this week?
Real? This week, we are we're celebrating Ray really important birthday.
Oh, that's all I can give you is a ruh-roh. Ruh-roh. I'm Googling right now. What does Shaggy say?
Joint. Zoinks.
Yoinks. Zoinks. Yoinks.
Yoinks.
Chaos. What are we doing? Sorry.
We are doing Scooby-Doo 2002, which kind of rhymes.
It does rhyme. Oh my god.
The live
God,
action Scooby-Doo. The Scooby-Doo that literally changed everything for the Scooby-Doo franchise.
For real.
Oh my god.
Also, in case you don't speak Ruby Roo or Scooby-Doo, what Sydney was saying earlier was that it's Matthew Lillard's birthday.
You couldn't tell that? You guys couldn't tell that?
Raggy.
That's really weird. That's really weird.
It's
You should already
Raggy's
know
birthday.
that.
It's Raggy's birthday.
It's Raggy's birthday.
Raggy's birthday.
I'm be so honest. One of my big takeaways watching the movie 2 times this week was like Shaggy has a special skill being able to understand what Scooby is saying, because I have no idea what Scooby's saying, and I have the subtitles on, and I still don't know.
Yeah, like that's his soulmate. Okay,
This is my best buddy.
We're just best pals.
It's very appropriate that we're doing this specific movie for Matty's birthday because, of course, it's one of his most iconic films. But really, honestly, watching it this time, I was like, this is a Matthew Lillard movie. Like he's the fucking star. Like
he
everybody
is kind
else
of like the emotional heart in many ways. He's the one
who
really
never
is.
Quit. He is the heart of this movie. He is the beating heart of this movie. And he's just so good. Oh my god. I mean,
he is so good.
Yeah.
He's just so sweet in this, and it's the thing about this movie that's so crazy. I don't think about this a lot, but like when you watch a movie and an actor is taking on a character, like you still can think, well, that's still Timothée Chalamet. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You're still like, I don't know. Sometimes I like
the whole
fall
episode
into
we're like, oh, Josh Hartnett, blah 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 blah.
Exactly. There's still like great example. 30 Days of Night. That was Josh Hartnett the whole time.
That was Josh Hartnett, and
that
again, he was so beautiful. I believed him in his character, but that was Josh Hartnett.
Yeah,
that was Josh Hartnett in Alaska fighting vampires.
And I loved
amazing. And I love that for him. But in this movie, these characters, and maybe it's because of the iconography of the Scooby-Doo like universe has been around for so long, but they nailed this casting so fucking well, and these characters became these people so much that I was like, Freddie Prinze Jr. who, Linda Cardellini who, Matthew Lillard who, for sure. Like he transformed.
That's Shaggy, bitch.
The only one that I had trouble with, Sarah Michelle Gellar, was sometimes Buffy. So
she was sometimes Buffy.
Sometimes she was Buffy.
That's because she was flying back and forth 2 weeks at a time to also be Buffy. So it's hard to shake, I'm sure.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of overlap in there for Daphne and Buffy, you know.
Well, yeah, because they made Daphne
especially
badass
when she
in this one.
her body into a weapon. Yeah.
Yes.
My body's a weapon. Okay, but also too, like, Matthew Lillard in a way like becomes Shaggy. That like after this movie, like he like voices most of the animated Scooby-Doo Shaggies anymore,
except when they fucked him over on Scoob. And I'm pissed about that. Oh,
that's
sorry.
Where we were going. Like,
oh, sorry.
What? Shut up, Monica.
No, literally. But Monica is proving the point that when who was it? Like Will Forte or something like that voiced Shaggy for Scoob. Like people were like distraught. Like the fans
Fire
were
in the
like,
streets.
this is not Shaggy. Like we will like Scoob like bomb. People were irate to the point where like they immediately corrected, and like Matthew Lillard was in like 3 other Scooby-Doo movies the following year. Like
yeah, they
it's
fucked
like
that so
he
bad.
cannot. Like the people will not allow anybody else but Matthew Lillard to voice Scooby-Doo now. Like he will be, or Shaggy. He will be voicing Shaggy.
For Casey Kasem. That's his job now.
Yes. Like he will voice probably Shaggy until he's dead, because the people will be like, I will accept nothing else.
Well, he just embodied it so well, and that's pretty crazy for a newcomer coming in to take on that role again after, because this franchise has been around since, what was it, like 69?
1969.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'd never before reading the IMDb trivia for this movie known that Scooby-Doo was like very much inspired by another TV show.
Oh, really?
Not a lot. I learned it's the characters, the main Scooby crew, were inspired by the characters from The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis, which is, I am guessing at pronunciation, but it is a sitcom show from 1959 to 1963. And if you look at the pictures of the 2 main boys, it is very clear the Fred and Shaggy inspiration was like snatched straight from that.
What was it called again? Sorry.
Here, I'll send you the IMDb link to our
thanks.
little texty.
I'd
But some of he's got this little goatee like you have, and you look so beautiful. And the other one is like blonde and like a button up, and the Shaggy one is like wearing a t-shirt. And like, yeah,
I see it.
The girls are like less. You look at the pictures of the girls and you go like, okay, I kind of see the vibes. But you look at the pictures of the boys and it's like even the physical characteristics are like very similar. But yeah, the origins go way back. They were inspired by this show from the 50s. They started their first property in the 60s, and it has been going kind of nonstop ever since.
There have been so many iterations of this show, and I haven't watched every single one of them, but I've watched episodes from every single one of them. I think Sydney might have seen all of them.
I have seen literally every single one of them. I have been in love with Scooby-Doo since I was little, because like when I was really little, my parents only let me watch like cartoons that they watched as kids.
So like it was
pre-vetted,
that and
that's
Halloween.
Smart. It's so interesting. They were like, protect her from the cartoons, but let her watch whatever horror movie she wants.
But it was only old horror movies for a while, because like it was movies that my parents watched growing up. You know what I mean? Like, so I watched a lot of like 50s, 60s, 70s, like 80s TV shows. Like the Golden Girls was my favorite show in first grade. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and you had good taste.
Exactly. But Scooby-Doo was like my number one. I've seen every single one, and I will say to this day, if you haven't watched, it's on like HBO and Netflix, the Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. It's only 2 seasons, but like, and Matthew Lillard voices Shaggy in this as well. But like, it does, like, every episode has like a monster of the week, but it has like an undercurrent plot through both seasons. Like the same like mystery that they have to solve goes through.
Love that.
It is literally one of the best television series ever done. I cannot recommend. I made Taylor watch it recently, and he was like, how have I never known about this? And I was like, because you're blind to Scooby-Doo media, not me.
What's the title?
Scooby-Doo again? Mystery Incorporated.
Can you sing for me which theme song it is? Because that's how I know them. Is by the cunt. Because all the theme songs are so cunty. Sorry, had to scream it.
I don't know who does this one, but it came out in like 2010.
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe I haven't. Oh no. Okay, I recognize this style, like of the drawings, of the animation. Excuse me. Yeah, I've definitely seen some of this one. Ooh, yeah, I really love the way they do Daphne's eyes in this one.
It's just like, the animation is beautiful. Eyeliner. Like the story plot is incredible. I do think Casey Kasem he voiced the voice of Shaggy's dad in a couple episodes of this, and I think he is credited as like this was his last like voice role before he died.
And Casey Kasem was the original Shaggy?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Or was he? I don't know if he was the original, but he was a long-running Shaggy at the very least.
I think he was the original voice of Shaggy.
Very possible, beyond my knowledge.
Yeah.
He could be alive for the
he
whole
could have been
40
enough to be
years
working in 1969. Yeah, I don't know. They reference him in that
possible.
70s show, so he's got to be of that era, roughly speaking.
He was born in 1932, so.
Oh yeah.
Old.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm listening to the theme song for Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated.
Here's the one thing also.
It's good.
Do you remember the like music is so important in Scooby-Doo. The music in this movie fucks. It's banging.
It fucks so hard.
It does.
Oh
the
my
soundtrack
God.
is full
There's
of boppers.
an Outcast song.
Yes.
Right? Is it written for this? That's what I meant to do. That's the one thing I wanted to research.
There's a Shaggy song that was like created for this. That's like Shaggy, Where Are You? Sung by artist Shaggy. But only a little bit made it in. I think that was conceived of when this movie was supposed to be more adult than it ended up being.
Dude, that's my favorite thing, learning about that. Oh, wait. Sorry, we've gone so deep into this, but Sydney, you should probably say the IMDb log line before we get too far away. In case someone here has never heard of Scooby-Doo, in which case, dear God, let us change your life.
Right? Okay. After an acrimonious breakup.
You said it.
Okay,
you did a great job. You slayed it.
Big words scare me sometimes.
And you were so brave.
Trust in yourself.
I was so brave. The Mystery Inc. gang are individually brought to an island resort to investigate strange going-ons. Wow, I can't wait to tell Taylor that I could say acrimonious. He's going to be so disappointed.
You did such a good job.
I would like to correct IMDb and say, is it possible that it's goings-on? I guess I don't know.
It is goings-on.
Should that be the Spotify poll? Just kidding.
It is goings-on. I just didn't read it that way.
It's one of those compound ones where it's like, oh, the plural actually goes in the middle.
Okay, one thing that I do find really unsettling about this movie is Scooby-Doo.
No, I love him.
Like
That's fine. Say your piece.
He's delicious, but like the CGI in this movie, like all the CGI in this movie, like feels so like unnerving, like unsettling. Like it. Just,
I agree with the monsters for sure. They look fucking.
But it's like the CGI for Scooby and the CGI for the monsters look a little bit different, and then the CGI for the like amusement park is different.
Oh, it's
and
so
the CGI
bad.
For the big bad monster at the very end that we won't get to yet is like really different, and I think it's like
that
all
one feels better.
Different.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense because when you know the backstory of the movie, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Just because. Oh my God, I watched
one
deleted scene from this, and they had the not finished yet Scooby in it, and it was the most fucked shit I've ever seen. It was so horrifying. It like didn't move right because it was like the unfinished one, and I was like, curse, curse, curse. Yeah, okay. I think a lot of people agree with you on that with Scooby in particular because I read this one incredible article that is the first thing linked in the references that I will reference later, but I'm not going to yet, the IndieWire one. But one of the things they said was like the Scooby-Doo looked dated when it came out. Like Scooby himself looked dated when it came out. Okay, fair. I love the way he looks. I watched the whole thing, read that article, watched it again, and I said, I love Scooby-Doo. But I agree that the monsters look fucking so weird. And that shot of Spooky Island, of the whole island, I was like, was this made with a trash can? Like, I was like, was the computer a trash can?
I think it is a tricky thing to pull off because obviously, historically, these were cartoons and comics. Were they comics actually or only cartoons? I don't know. I'm getting it confused with the Scooby-Doo, Josie and the Pussycats, Archie comics overlap because they're all kind of, you know,
in the same genre.
I think this started with Hanna-Barbera, but I'll double check.
Yeah, it did.
They were Hanna-Barbera. But You know, obviously, when they're cartoons, Scooby-Doo can look however Scooby looks, which is like a dog, but also not really like a dog. And there's like so much room for that. And then when you make it live action, it kind of is like, okay, how are you going to have him look like he exists in the same world as them while also not being Lion King live action? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's hard to, they did have the
because
Jim
he
Henson
has to
Company.
emote.
Right, he has to emote. He has to be able to talk. He has to be Scooby, not a dog. Nobody wants the Lion King thing because it's
No,
like that's not what I
nobody
came to
wants
movie
that
for.
at all.
Right.
But they had the Jim Henson Company make a Scooby puppet. At one point, there was a whole Scooby puppet constructed, and then I think it just like wasn't working out or wasn't giving the vibes that they wanted. They ended up going the CGI direction instead. But I think there was some real, I'm sure, behind the scenes difficult conversations about like how to tackle this in a
No,
way that like
totally.
works and is not distracting. And I kind of feel like this is best case scenario with the technology of the time.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
I'm okay with him looking a little wonk because if he's bringing cartoon vibes into our real world, I think that's okay.
Specifically with Scooby's character, because he's so like it's talking dog.
Yeah.
Ruh-roh, Shaggy. Like, oh my god, I love him so much. I love him so much.
Ramburgers.
Ramburgers.
That was one
God,
of my, that's still one of my. It just I love it. I'm like,
I love it.
go down into the woods all
Where
alone.
it's too dark and scary for anybody to hear you scream. And he's like, okay.
He's just a hungry hippo. That's just who he
I'm
is.
gonna be
That's
a
who he
wrecker
is.
rice.
Oh my! I want to be a wrecker rice. Okay, I okay. Let me just wax poetic for 1 second. I found
Yeah.
out today. I'm fast forward to our final segment really quickly. Spoiler
Okay.
alert for later. This was critically panned.
Yeah.
What? I was
Yeah,
shocked. Literally shook me to my fucking core
Core.
because I watched this movie and I was like, "This is the best movie I've ever seen in my life."
right, sure.
Like
But to your
watching it
point
again,
earlier,
I was like, "It's perfect."
yeah, it is critically panned. But to your point earlier about Matthew Lillard disappearing into Shaggy, embodying Shaggy so fully, that was like the one consistently praised element of this movie. And so on IMDb trivia, it's like every other actor is like, I hate this movie. This movie makes me ashamed of myself. And then it's like Matthew Lillard likes the movie because everybody said he did great, even if they
Matthew
hated the rest
Lillard
of the
was
fucking
a
movie.
star.
Matthew
Okay,
Lillard was a star, top to bottom, left to right.
I really don't get it because okay, I guess this is like maybe child me coming through because I watched this when it came out because I
Sure, of
not to the
course.
same extent as Sydney, but I was a huge fucking Scooby-Doo stan as a kid as well, and I was always watching that like along with Avatar, like when it was
Yes.
playing early in the morning. Avatar: The Last Airbender, in case somebody's getting really confused and thinks I'm talking about James Cameron. I'm not.
Wrong. It's
We'll be
the
talking
good
about James Gunn,
Avatar.
but not James Cameron. Uh But I loved this shit so much. I literally have a cat named Daphne. She will be making a cameo later, but right now I don't know
She's
where the
busy.
fuck she is. TBH, she's doing cat shit.
She's got business, yeah.
She's got cat business. That's not my business. But like this, I think is such a brilliant way to bring Scooby Doo into reality. I think that's so brilliant and praise to James Gunn for like paralleling like the fact that this is in reality because there's literal actors playing the characters and then they also bring the monster into reality too, like the monster is real in this too. I just think that that was really fun and like a really fun entry point because it
Right,
would
because
have
so
been
often the premise of the original comics is like, oh, there's a monster. It's just an old man in a mask. And like
Yeah.
obviously they play on that in the beginning with the
yeah.
Luna ghost.
Oh yeah.
But
Old
to
Man
like
Smithers.
every now and then the Scooby-Doo franchise gets to do a little something fun and have ghosts be real.
Like the
And so
Hex
like
Girls, those were real witches, right?
those were real witches.
Those are
Those were
And
real
they're
Zombie
witches.
Islands, they were
Wiccans.
real
Actually, they're
zombies.
I'm sorry.
Wiccans.
Which
They're
one? Zombie
1/16
Island?
Wiccan. The
And
Zombie
there's the
Islands are
Ghoul School.
actually
And
those
those
are
are
real.
obviously real monsters.
And the Boo Brothers, those are real.
Bitch, the cyber ghost, you can't make that shit up.
That's real.
Cyber ghost
That's
was
a real cyber ghost, baby.
And it's terrifying, and that's what's coming for us in the future with AI. Okay, and
That was
I'll
just
leave
ahead
it
of
there.
its time.
Uh-huh. But something I thought was really interesting, what I did most of my research on was about like the R-rated version and how it was completely different and so amazing. Holy shit. I didn't know about that. Apparently that's been lore for years and years that like there's this like the Snyder cut. They actually call it something. I'll look up what they have it as, like the blah 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 cut.
The James Gunn cut.
No, it's like the Gosnell cut. That's what it is. The Gosnell cut. I don't know. That's what it's called. In case you wanted to know, it's a mythic one. But with that, I also watched all the deleted scenes. And I think one of the ones I loved the most was they had a completely different opening for this movie. And I really recommend you guys all watch the deleted scenes if you haven't, because they're really, really fun. And they really, like, give you a taste of what the R-rated version was. It doesn't have all the stuff, but it has a good chunk of it. But yeah, this movie is one of those classic films that suffered from intense intervention from the studio, and then also they did a bunch of rewrites after testing it the first time
Gosnell,
around.
by the way, is the director.
Yeah.
Oh, that's his name?
Raja Gosnell. Which is, I was also surprised when I saw that earlier, because I was like, didn't James Gunn direct this movie? No, he's just the screenwriter.
He just was a screenwriter.
He's not just, but he's the screenwriter.
I thought that Raja was the guy's last name. So I was like, who's Gosnell? I remembered Raja, but not Gosnell.
I googled
Sorry,
Gosnell
Raja
cut
Gosnell.
to try and find it, and then that page on Scooby-Doo the movie.fandom.com/wiki/the_Gosnell_cut does not mention who Gosnell is. That would be helpful for them to say, but it is also called the Gunn Cut for James Gunn. So it was like a team effort. They were buddies.
But the intro that they originally had, or I don't know if originally had, but it was the alternative one, because like in this, it's the same opening scene. It leads into the same opening scene with the Luna Ghost, but like it's literally the title credits that's different. Like I love the title credits that we get, because even from moment fucking one, this shit's cunty and it slaps. So in the version that we see, the Warner Brothers logo gets chomped, a big chomp taken out of it by Scooby. And then it goes, Scooby-Doo, where are you? And it turns into the Scooby-Doo, Scooby Snacks logo thing, and it says Mystery Incorporated underneath. So it's like, actually, it's Mystery Incorporated, not Warner Brothers. Slaps. Very funny. The original version was kind of an ode to the old show, though, and the animation. It's all animated, and it's the characters like doing their classic stuff. You see like some of the classic villains, most iconic ones, like that green face guy with the black swoopy hair. You probably can even picture who I'm talking about. There's a lot of these. They're like the most iconic villains that pop up when you Google, Scooby-Doo. And so like they're having this little like run around thing where they're like all showing off who they are. Like Daphne's getting attacked and like taken, and like Scooby and Shaggy are eating whatever, and like Fred's doing something fucking dumb, and Velma's being smart or whatever. And then like the Luna Ghost is like in the background for parts of it, and then swoops in and picks up Daphne at the end, and then it leads in to the opening scene.
Oh, that's cute.
And it's not like a seamless transition, but it like shows the warehouse as a cartoon, and then it snaps and it's the real scene, or like the real footage. So I thought that was really, really cute. I understand why they didn't necessarily want to go that direction, but this was one of the few times where like every single deleted scene, I was like, they could have put it in. The movie was only an hour and 26 minutes. We could have had a few more minutes of this movie. We could have had 13 more minutes.
Apparently, there was a scene where Velma and Daphne kiss.
We're not ready to talk about that yet.
Yeah. And apparently there was another scene where like when Velma's like drunk, right? And Fred and Daphne are like talking to her, and she's like flirting, but it's like real ambiguous who she's flirting with, but like she's flirting with Daphne.
Well, per IMDb trivia, Velma was canonically gay in the original script. Like it was in the movie that she was gay. and then it just they kept
they were like,
chiseling
no.
away at it. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I read on IMDb trivia, so that must be true. Part of the reason this movie got chopped down the way it did was because the previous Hanna-Barbera adaptation, Josie and the Pussycats, was kind of a flop, and they attributed that in part to it being like aged up and more adult, so kind of like not targeting its original target audience, which makes sense. And obviously it's a cult classic, and obviously it's perfect and flawless as it is, and is just perfect, as is this movie. But it didn't find its audience right away, because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, it's a kid's property. Is it aimed for kids? Is it aimed for the kids who watched it 30, 40 years ago and are adults now? Is it aimed for teenagers? And it's like, if you ask me, as somebody whose favorite movie was Josie and the Pussycats in the second grade, and who just like didn't get the more adult jokes, that movie, this movie, they can be for audiences of any age, because the more adult stuff is gonna go right over the heads of kids.
Yeah.
And the kids stuff is gonna like be fun and nostalgic for the adult lovers. And like, maybe it's a little too goofy for teens who don't know how to be earnest because they have to be cool, but like, I think a lot of teens would still fuck with this. So,
well, but also too, this movie came out like after Shrek, right? Where it had like, here's the thing. James Gunn was like in an article quoted, this came out in the heat of Shrek.
wow. So Shrek was just dominating the theaters. This movie didn't stand a chance. Is that what you're saying?
No, like, because Shrek came out like in what, like 2001?
Sure, maybe.
Right? And so like when they were like, Shrek became such like a hit, they were like, oh, like we need to like do things more like Shrek like, and things like that, like the fart jokes and the like things like that. They're like, how can we make this movie more Shrek-esque? Because so they were in the heat of Shrek.
Shrektacular.
Yep.
Well, I think it's an interesting thing, like how to tackle a movie like this, because like you said, and like we've been saying, this property's been around since fucking 69. So like the people who started watching it then, I don't see them necessarily connecting with the 2000s-ness, the Y2K of it all, of this movie. You know what I mean? Because it's so Y2K, and it's so leaning into that like college culture. Sugar fucking Ray, we'll get there.
I love
like
Sugar Ray.
Oh my god, I love Sugar Ray so much. So I feel like that could be like alienating for people, for that type of fan base too. It's hard because it's so massive, you have to balance everything. And so sometimes you can't balance it all, and you get a movie that's internationally panned, but it's perfect for me. And so literally
Sometimes
fuck everyone.
make a perfect, gorgeous R-rated movie, and then your test audience, for whatever reason, thought it was going to be a children's movie, and so they absolutely tear it the fuck apart. And then the studio goes, well, guess we've got to change it, instead of just making it clear in their advertising what kind of audience they're seeking.
Yeah.
Because even the cut that we get seems so clearly made for like the college age crew of like people who watched Scooby-Doo when they were young, and now they're young adults. And they're like ready to appreciate and engage with like more sexual, drug related humor, but also like throw it back to some of the goofy stuff, some of the classic bits, and also like, sure, sprinkle in some Shreky fart jokes. But yeah, I mean, I think it is kind of like, I don't know, Gremlins comes to mind, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, people see like a fuzzy little creature and they go, this must be for children. And then it's like, Santa's not real. And it's like, whoa, did you?
Whoa.
And I don't know.
Did
I
you
mean, I
hear
think,
that?
again, that is just like a failure of the studio, of like, you don't know who you're targeting, or you're not making it clear who the audience for this movie is. And maybe you're trying to reach too wide of an audience, and so you're like kind of beefing it a little bit now, because now everybody's a little bit like, this wasn't quite for me. But you gotta just kind of like let her be who she is.
Let her rock. Yeah, because like when they tested this with the test audience, like they had to change stuff at its fucking core. Like, they hated the way the monsters apparently look completely different. And I don't know if trivia said anything about this. I was trying to find like a mock-up of what they originally look like. There is like a brief image of the same time you see fucked up Scooby-Doo in the one deleted scene, you will also see fucked up something else, and I can't even begin to describe what it looks like. Corpses. Like, I just have no idea.
Yelly.
But like, the original idea was like, this was just an aside in this. It was like outer space things coming to possess you, and it wasn't fucking protoplasm. I mean, you and I, all of us here know those were their fucking souls, the little floating heads, but they had to change it to protoplasm because it was
Pure
like the
spirit.
it was like the fucking 80s satanic panic. The people who watched this were like, it's too demony and I'm scared. So they had to change all of that. And like, they reshot some things, but like, yeah, originally this was going to be a much queerer film, which is insane because it's already so fucking gay. Holy fucking shit. But like, this is a quote from
We
James
made
Gunn.
all the characters straight. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. James Gunn, literally in this tweet that's not available anymore, but this is a quote. He said, someone was like, why wasn't Velma gay or something? And he replied, I tried. In 2001, Velma was explicitly gay in my initial script, but the studios just kept watering it down and watering it down, becoming ambiguous, the version shot, in parentheses. Then nothing, the released version, not nothing, but that's okay. And finally, having a boyfriend, parentheses, the sequel. So he really did try. And also, like, even the outfits were more racy. Like, there was more cleave from everyone involved.
CGI'd out some cleave,
They
which
literally-
is crazy because the cleave is very much the cleaving in this movie.
Cleave is so crazy, and like, there is a tragedy that befalls us all here because Linda Cardellini, her first name's Linda, right? I'm saying the right thing?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was like, is it Lisa? It could be Lisa.
No,
It's an
Linda.
L-I-N-A. Linda Cardellini, babe, amazing, incredible. She's so good.
Just watched her in a new show called No Good Deed. Gorgeous. Very sexy.
Oh, I worked the press event for that.
Oh, it's fun. My dad and I loved it.
I was in the same hotel as her. I didn't talk to her, but I looked at her on the screen and I said, "Oh my God, she's looking incredible, aging like a fine wine." Linda,
literally
great
yesterday.
job. Oh,
Fantastic.
cool. Yeah, it seems like a fun concept. Ray Romano.
She's also good at Dead to Me.
Kudrow.
But anyway, a little gay in both. To be clear.
Let's not forget her piece de resistance, Freaks and Geeks.
Yes, I love Freaks and Geeks so much. But anyway, if you're here, you've probably seen Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. If you haven't,
or at least you know that moment.
You know her in the latex fit.
She gets so sexy in that. But we have a sexy moment that is almost on that level in the deleted scenes for this movie. So they took so much from us, not quite on that level, but there's a lot of body. There's a lot of body. And also,
yada, 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 yada.
Another thing that was explicitly not explicit, or however you want to say it, in the original cartoons is that Shaggy is a fucking stoner. And Scooby is, I guess, secondhand high. You know what I mean? And that's why
all stoners' dogs.
Yeah, and that's why they eat like
one of my dogs
crazy shit.
Edibles and she accidentally got into some and had the best
she's
time.
Always on the hunt.
And now she like tries. Bobby is
girl, those are expensive. I cannot be sharing with you.
It's like, no.
That's so funny.
It's really funny, actually.
They tried to make that shit so explicit in the movie, and there were like all these times where Shaggy was like basically explicitly a stoner, but they took like 90% of them out, but it's still so clear in the film.
It's
so
still
it's fine.
Yeah, it's so clear.
I mean, anybody who knows, it's one of those, like, if you're in the club, you're in the club and you see what's happening. Because when he's like, oh, Mary Jane, that's my favorite name. It's like, well, we know why you're saying that. And when
I didn't actually get that one until I read it in an article.
Well, and also, like, right from the jump, when it says, like, 2 years later.
Yeah, it's like Pass the Duchy.
And they're playing Pass the Duchy, and you just see like smoke coming out, and then they're like grilling.
It turns out they're making
eggplant
burgers.
Oh, talk about toasted.
Well, in that part in particular, there originally was a sign that said pot $5 on it. Like they're selling weed out of the van, out of the Mystery Incorporated van. But then it like pans to like Scooby having like a ceramic pot with flowers to be like
gorgeous.
No, what were you thinking?
No, you're so silly. Stop.
Yeah, there are so many like crazy fucking jokes in this movie too. Like that part in particular.
The very beginning when Daphne is like, the ghost is grabbing and she doesn't say what he's grabbing, but it is very clear what is left over from the adult cut in that scene and what was being implied about the Luna ghost.
Yeah, the Luna ghost is horny as
fuck.
Like
her wedgie, and she's like, he was pawing me for an hour. Also, Pamela Anderson's there.
Pamela Anderson is there. Yeah.
Fucking Matthew Lillard doing insane
skating. Maybe that's
incredible.
Old Man Smithers. This is the one note that I wrote down when I was rewatching it. Old Man Smithers calling himself a lover boy of George Clooney proportions. I was like,
I died.
Okay.
And she was like, Pam's like, damn, maybe I missed out.
Maybe
I gives a little.
If I'd known that before, lead with the good stuff, babe.
Yeah, I think the opening is so perfect because you get that like classic, but like teched up for 2002, you know, so it makes sense because the Luna ghost can fly and has that cool smoke around him. Very exciting.
But helium composite and the balloons that expand.
Yeah.
And
the classic failure of the plot. They always try their plans. It always fails, blah, blah, blah. And I just love how they started this. I think it was just brilliant to have them break up because it isn't fair when you watch the whole show. Like Fred does get a lot of the credit, or at least he always acts like he is head honcho, but he's a fucking himbo. He's the OG himbo, maybe. Probably not, but he's one of the OG himbos. Like there's nothing up there, but he is a pretty face. And Velma is always, you know, playing second fiddle. And I think that it's really smart to have them like break up and have to come together.
Well, also I think like when you have a comic book or a cartoon that's been running this long, it's going to be a difficult task to write the characters in a way that is engaging, that shows growth over time, while still having them be like recognizably the same characters. And I think you really don't want to feel like so unbelievably constrained by their roles from the original cartoons. So having them break up and then having a 2-year time jump really gives you the opportunity to be like, there's been off-screen development happening for all of them, and it allows them to come in kind of fresh, and you understand why they're not necessarily exactly the way that you know them.
Yeah, and I think it gave them an opportunity to do a cunty Y2K glow up every single one of them.
Oh, their clothes are a little different now because guess what? They've transformed their style and they're all trying to figure out who they are.
They are. Oh, yeah, seeing like Daphne in that little purple coat at the airport with her 7 carry-on bags.
Why not 7? Funny. This is bullshit.
Something that was deleted that I thought was really interesting is they gave a picture of every character and what they've been up to, just like they did with Scooby and Shaggy. Like they keep that part in, and that's baked into the whole premise of them getting onto the plane and everything. And the one thing I wanted to make a note of, when the guy from Spooky Island is like, hey, you should come over here. And they're like, no, we don't go anywhere that says spooky, haunted, forbidden, blah, 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 blah. And Scooby says, and what is it? Hydrocolonic?
Yeah.
Which is when you get your colon cleaned out with like a water hose.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
They water pressure your butthole.
Yeah. I was like, there's so many really interesting jokes like that in this movie, and I really like it. But so we know what Shaggy and Scooby have been up to. And we already know that Shaggy's not happy with where he's at because he has that moment where he's like eating his eggplant and chocolate sauce and hot
Yep.
sauce sandwich.
Delicious.
And he's like, just another day in paradise. But like the smile doesn't reach his eyes and he's sad. You know, we already know he's sad. It's Scooby.
He didn't want to quit. Friends
Yeah.
quit.
Because when
But-
Scooby was like, "Do I quit?" He was like, "No, Scooby,
No,
you don't
Scooby,
quit."
Friends don't quit. But they do a really good job of in these deleted scenes showing that every single one of them is also doing bad too, and cutting that, I think you lose that. So with Fred, he meets up with Velma, and they're like, "Oh, what have you been doing?" He's like, "Oh, I've been on my book tour with my book, like The Many Faces of Me or whatever." It flashes to him at like a Comic-Con type thing, and it looks like, oh, all these people are here for them. No, they're doing just normal Comic-Con stuff, and there's fucking 3 like 10-year-old boys that are watching his speech, and then they all roast him at the end of it. So that's his flashback. Then with Velma, she's like, "Oh, like I'm working for NASA and helping them with this and blah 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 blah. But more importantly, I'm going on a journey of self-discovery." And so instead of showing her like doing the NASA stuff, it shows her in a group therapy session, support group where like there's the fucking like ink blots all over the walls. It's very cunty. Yeah, the Rorschach test. And she's like, "Well, my thing was that I was in this group and a famous group, and I never got the credit or the attention that I deserved." And then everyone in the group therapy was like, "What group?" And she's like, "Oh, Mystery Incorporated." And then each one is like, "Oh, I remember Fred from that one." And then someone was like, "Oh, I remember Shaggy. Oh, I remember that dog, Scooby. Oh, I remember Daphne. She was so fucking hot." And then they were like, "Who were you?" They're like, "You were in it?" And like, so it's the same thing again. And then with Daphne, and this is where I was having that like, what did we say? You say it was Chelsea, the Mandela.
Oh, the Mandela effect.
I swear to God, I had seen this part of the scene before, and I am very confused by it. But it showed Daphne after she says, "I've become my body's a weapon." It shows her like doing like a fucking like kung fu kind of thing where she has like a sensei teaching her everything, and she like fucks it royal, and she does a really bad job, and she like gets stuck in a tree. And I swear to God, I have seen that before. So I don't know, maybe I just like have gone down the road of deleted scenes in my colored past, but that felt like it was in the movie. But that's the only one that I'm glad that they didn't put in, because Daphne literally is really good at martial arts now, okay? And we see that in the end, and I think that that's awesome that they give her character agency in this movie, because it is really annoying that she like is always the damsel in distress for the last fucking 40 years.
I really like the way they do it in the movie too, where it's like they establish early on she's a kung fu master, but like we don't get to see it until the finale essentially, because like that is also realistic, you know what I mean? You're practicing something in a learning and rehearsal environment. That doesn't mean it's going to be able to translate immediately to the real world. That's something that also takes like skill building and practice and time. Even if you are a kung fu master at your kung fu class, doesn't mean that you can like fight a monster in person with confidence, you know? So I thought they really earned her when she did have her moment at the end.
No, I totally agree.
But yeah, I mean, also, I think even if they cut those scenes, and apparently they cut them just because they thought it like slowed down the pace, and I think, you know, that makes sense. But you kind of do have this implied, like, okay, even if they are all doing great, they all clearly miss being part of a mystery solving endeavor, because they all individually agreed to come here and try and solve this mystery, even if they wanted to prove to themselves like, I can do it alone. I'm okay on my own. Like, even if that was the drive for some of them, you know, they yearn for the team.
Right? Yeah. I think one of my biggest takeaways from this movie is that I'm really fucking mad that Spooky Island isn't real. Possession or fucking Spooky not, man.
Airlines.
That's like, I feel like when I was a kid, I thought that that's what Spirit Airlines was like. Not Spirit, Virgin. Virgin, not Spirit. Spirit fucking blows. Sorry. Virgin was cunty. Like, there's like a bar. It's like a tiki airplane.
Yeah.
Can you imagine this?
It's a party
If
on the
there's
plane, girl.
there's so much cultural appropriation and weird fuck up
Yeah.
2002 things. Let it just be said. And I know that tiki is bad, but I was raised on tiki. So
I
a
love tiki.
horror tiki theme park island?
Idea.
Where is it? Investors, make it happen. We could be the face of Spooky Island. We're Spooky Tuesday
Oh my god,
after
we'd be
all.
happy to be.
Oh my
if
god,
anybody's
let
looking
us
for that,
let us
yeah.
chit chat.
We'll
We can
our
be in
people
the
will talk to your people.
we can be in the creepy little box that Mr. Bean is in when he's like greeting in the like
Yeah.
I love Mr. Bean.
Oh, I love Mr. Bean. I love Rowan Atkinson. I always forget that that's his name. It's such a fucking cunty name. That's an incredible name. And he is so hilarious. And I love him in this.
I was very obsessed with a rat race growing up. Anybody else obsessed with a rat
I've never
race?
seen.
Yeah.
I remember the ads for it, and I was like, "That's too racy for me to watch."
I know, that's why I was like, I must see it.
I was
I
like,
have to see
I know my
that race."
limits, and I'm 7, and that must be much too racy for me.
That's why they put race in the name.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love him. I think he is so funny when he's like, I can be spooky, and he does that weird little shit. Very upsetting. And I also love all of the Disneyland references in his
Right.
opening speech. Like, I don't know, it was like the electrical parade of death or something, and then like the Matterhorn.
The
What was it called?
Splatterhorn.
Splatterhorn.
It's a dead
Yes.
Yeah.
And the hotel looks so cool. The hotel looks fucking so sick. It's so sick. Everybody is dressed so fucking cool. I'm glad that I'm 31, but what if I had been a college student in 2002?
Oh my
Looks
god.
like it was fucking sick.
I would have
Could've been
wanted to
cool.
go to this as a college student. I was like, I would spend spring break here all
Yeah.
the
world.
time.
I would go here even at risk of brainwashing.
Right?
Seriously, 100%. I
For at
also
least 2
have
days, it's gonna be a blast. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my god. I love too that you're thinking everything's still silly. You walk onto this island and then immediately you're like, "Oh no, there's actually something legitimately really fucked up happening cuz that girl like has super strength and can like throw her friend." So insane.
And
love
also, it's like such a fun conundrum to be like, the problem is that the party people don't want to party anymore. Something really strange is happening. They're leaving mild mannered.
It doesn't
The-
make sense.
the real conundrum is these white kids are using like black slang wrong.
It's so interesting. I was like, "What did I guess Scrappy do?" Sorry, spoiler alert. What did Scrappy do watch that he was like, "This is the culture of 2002, and I will tell all the monsters to watch this." Like, what informed him of the slang speech? I don't know if it was him
Okay.
or that hot bald guy or the luchador man. I don't know who's in charge.
the
I don't know
luchador
what's
man.
going on. Oh my god, I love the hot bald guy.
Right?
He was hot. to
I
me.
will
Is
Very
say
hot
you?
to me.
I was watching this and I was like, Taylor, unfortunately, I will start saying no big whoop dog.
No big whoop dog.
No big whoop
There is
dog.
one thing that Fred said at one point that I don't remember what it was. I'd have to go hunting through the quotes, but I was like, oh, that really like scratches something in my brain.
Also something where
Oh.
like the luchador character is like, we gotta get the big muchachos or something like this on this. What did he say?
He seemed normal. I don't understand. Like him and the bald guy, like just felt like they were talking.
The bald guy playing the piano, iconic.
Iconic.
He's like,
Oh my
I'm
God.
gonna eavesdrop and play a little soft jazz.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry to keep talking about the deleted scenes, but there is like a trans-ish thing that happens in one of the deleted scenes, and it's the deleted scene with the cursed Scooby. So you'll have to watch that. But like, there's a part where they're in like a tram going somewhere. I don't think that actually makes it into the film at any point. It reminded me of when they're on the bikes and Mary Jane gets her head bonked and it's revealed that it reminded me of that, but it doesn't actually happen. There was a tram, and that is when I know I spoiled it.
Oh no.
But I think that's when it makes sense because that's how Velma meets that fucking hot guy that's like her half
In the
love
Zeppelin
interest.
shirt.
Because he just fucking shows up, that guy,
Yep.
and they don't
He's
actually
just
meet, but
standing
then
next
they're
to her,
suddenly.
and then he just keeps standing next to her, and then it's like obviously they're in love.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Okay, but that is honestly how things work
He's
sometimes
cute.
in college.
Yeah,
Like you
that's
just happen to be
absolutely how
in
it
close
goes on spring
proximity.
break. He's right
Yes.
Well,
here.
they didn't even say
he'll
hi.
do.
The hi happens in this deleted scene, so at least they did have a
Mm.
normal interaction.
We
But
just
like,
don't
He's
see
like,
it. It's
"Tell
off
me your
camera.
secrets," and
see
she
it.
was like, "I'm drunk
I
now."
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in this scene, similar to the other flashback scene where she's in group therapy, like she is telling him about like their backstory and how they all used to be in Mystery Incorporated together, blah blah blah. And she was basically like, "Oh yeah, I'm Velma. I was in the group." And she was like, "And I was the brains behind the operation," or something like that. And he was like, "Okay." And he's like, I swear to God, he was like, "Are you sure you've always been a woman?" And I think it's like he's thinking of Fred, not her. And that's
Oh.
what it is. But it is just the most bizarre thing, like him questioning her gender.
Well, you're
And I was
smart.
like,
Can you
What?
really be a woman?
it's like sexist, but also like him being
What?
like, "If you weren't always a woman, I'm still down." Like
Look, I'm down
it's really
regardless, but I am just curious.
she's always been a woman, but before she was a very tall blonde man, apparently. Like it's just
People
very
can change themselves in whatever way they need
Yeah.
to feel like themselves.
it was very interesting. I was like, all right, fair that was cut. But I was like,
Fair.
what?
And
It's
yet, in the second one, we get Shaggy with boobs. Never
I
forget.
know. Dude, there was some
There's body swapping in this one.
There's
I
body swapping
mean,
in this.
not that
Okay.
any of them were necessarily being like, I finally feel like myself. But, you know, there's room
Okay.
for that to be discussed later on.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Okay. If you,
Oh God. What?
so like Monica, say you and Adam switched bodies.
Ooh, okay.
Would you want to fuck yourself to see what it's like?
Maybe there's 1,000 fanfics with this premise.
I know, but I'm bringing up the question because I would.
Yeah.
I want to
I
know.
feel like yes, but I feel like it might ruin me for me. I might just be like, "Oh my God, that's what I look like when I."
But maybe you'll be like, oh my God,
Oh my
that's what I
God.
look. I mean, who knows?
Oh my God, that's what I
Ooh.
think. I want to know what I feel like.
This is a longer discussion though that can't possibly be contained within the breadth of this one podcast episode while also leaving any room to talk about the movie because there's so many we've sort of engaged with this question before, not on the podcast necessarily, but in watching another film that maybe we'll cover one day, where it's like, would you fuck yourself, and is it a clone of yourself or is it you, or but you know what I mean? There's
This
so
could be
much
exclusive content where we ramble and just chit chat about this one time.
there's so much nuance for this conversation that I think you can have 500 different answers depending on the slightly different elements.
I feel like the idea of me just like fucking myself and it's me, and that is something that I don't know. But if it's someone that I love, my beautiful fiance, and we've swapped bodies and we want to do an exploration, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah, I think if you guys are fucking, but also your consciousness can astral project and meet on the spiritual plane as well.
You can
and know
the
the other
little
person
spirit heads.
like what the other person is sensing and feeling. Without, because look, if Monica is in Adam's body, she doesn't have the experience of using that body out every day. You know what I mean?
No,
She's trying
I'm
to,
gonna have a
she's figuring
dick.
shit out brand new. But if
Uh-huh.
she can like just be experiencing what Adam is experiencing, that's a different conversation.
Wow.
Again.
No,
This is
I
really-
want to. I want to like be in somebody else's body, fucking myself.
You want a classic body swap scenario.
Yeah.
Chelsea, is reminding me of that
No, I
that
know.
fan fiction
And
that
it
you sent
wasn't
me.
it kind of hot?
That it was so hot. I
It was
read
like
this
really
was
weirdly. I'm sure I
Body
sent it to Phoebe
Swap,
before, and I'm sure she did not read it.
Chrissy from Stranger Things and Eddie from Stranger Things body swap, and I read it on a plane, and I was like, I need to go to jail. I need to
You
go
do
to
need to go to
jail.
jail. You
for
do need to
reading
go to
this
jail.
on the
Horny
plane.
jail,
I was like,
Monica, horny jail.
I can't be on a plane. If I get on a list, I'll be on the no-fly list. Anyway,
Horny
Chelsea
jail
did that
right
to
now.
me. Chelsea almost got me on the no-fly list, so you
Chelsea
better
gets
watch yourself
everybody.
around
I
here.
warned
Chelsea
her that it
sends
was
everybody to
smutty.
horny jail.
Okay, I'm gonna
It's
say a
not my
thought
fault. You
that
guys are dirty little sluts.
Ooh.
Yes, it is, Chelsea.
Okay.
Well, let me bring down the vibe really quickly. Earlier, when I said that I wish I had been a college student in 2002, my second thought that I didn't say out loud was, but then I would have been really conscious for 9/11, and that would have been really hard.
Yeah,
Would have
how
been a
did
lot more active
It would
processing.
have been a lot
How did-
harder than
how
dealing
did
with it.
dog grandma make it through post 9/11 GSA?
That was also my thought. I was like, this came out in 2002. They'd never let
Like
dog
they filmed
grandma
it
off.
earlier. We know, and Spooky Airlines clearly doing its own thing. They've got
It
their
all
own
goes back to
regulations.
9/11.
Can we really dive deep into the real questions that you want to know the answers to? Oh God. Here's another part I like. I like when Daphne tries to be a super sleuth and she goes to, what is his character's name?
The voodoo guy.
The voodoo guy. But
He's
what
probably
is
just
his...
in there as voodoo guy.
Hold on. I'm
I've
looking
got
it up
the-
because I want to say that actor's name.
Voodoo
because
Maestro is the character name per IMDb.
Voodoo Maestro. So
That's a
that
horrible
feels
name.
that feels bad. It feels bad. All the
Right.
voodoo stuff is always usually not good. Remember when we talked about that on
Still
a
Not Needed
Nightmare
last
Before
summer?
Christmas?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. That was the
So
whole
many
voodoo
different
thing
examples,
was
I
oogie
guess.
boogie. Yeah. No, people love to do that. They're like, oh,
That's
black
so true.
mysticism, blah blah blah. Let's make it fuck up. Anyway, shouts though to Miguel A. Nunez Jr., who plays Voodoo Maestro.
He crushed
Hot.
it.
He's so hot.
Very sexy.
He's very sexy. Everybody's really sexy.
He's got
Even
incredible burns.
and Nagu Tuana, which is the bald spooky guy, is played by Stephen Greaves. No one
We'll
knows.
never know.
Also very hot. Also, that's Isla Fisher.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, she looks so familiar. Who is that? She was blonde, so I went face blind. I was like, I could never know who that is. It's just blonde
Apparently,
Isla.
she auditioned for Daphne and made it pretty far, but the casting director or whoever was making these decisions, for whatever reason, decided they wanted a real life couple to play Fred and Daphne, which is how
Yeah.
they settled on Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah
That
Michelle
was-
Gellar as a pair. Which is also so interesting because in the original script they were like, "Oh, Daphne and Velma have something going on," and like Fred is maybe gay, and like then why did you
Right.
need a real life couple? But you know what?
Well, they really
The
wanted
vibes
to
are
make
vibing
a
regardless.
bisexual fucking triangle, love triangle.
Here's the thing. This
And
is
they already
actually
have one.
just a group of bisexual teenagers getting into business. Like
People
I
have
think
been
that
saying
Fred's
for
straight.
years, Mystery Incorporated. I'm very into a bisexual read for Fred.
Yeah.
I love that,
it's
but
just
he
a
gives so
polyamorous
straight.
friend group.
I
Yes,
agree.
It's like our friend group where everything can go. We're like, what if we all
Anything
just
can
kiss right
happen.
now? Anything's down.
We just joke about it all the time. I'm waiting for it to go down. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Everyone calm down.
Monica, is that a green light?
Monica and I are hanging out later tonight, so we'll see what happens.
Oh God.
If anything happens, FaceTime me so I can be
I-
there.
I was
Set me up in the cut
You want to
corner.
watch?
I was gonna make a joke, but I didn't.
Watch The Wolfman. See if I make any moves tonight.
Yes.
Well, we were gonna watch it in IMAX, and the only seats available were in the back row. And I was like, I know what's gonna happen next. So then I didn't make that joke, but now I am.
Monica's gonna fall asleep.
I've been drinking a lot of coffee, and I'm not even gonna have any special substances to watch The Wolfman. Otherwise, I will fall asleep because I fell asleep in 40X for the Polar Express. It's literally a roller coaster, and I fell asleep 4 times. I still fell asleep, and then every time it spit in your face, I woke up. Thank God it was in 40X, or I would have been zonked the whole time. Anyway, never doubt my ability to fall asleep in a public setting. What were we talking about? Scooby-Doo.
Isla Fisher auditioned for Daphne, and she's a redhead, but she ended up playing a blonde. And Sarah Michelle Gellar is blonde, but she ended up playing a redhead, sort of, which you kind of hinted at. I don't think we've said that yet on the episode, or was that just our pre-chatter?
I don't know. She's
a
strawberry blonde. She's not even a real redhead. Like that part later when one of the zombieified, possessed, whatever the fuck you want to say, blonde girl's like, "Hey, Big Red, give me the ball." Who the fuck is Big Red? There ain't no Big Red here. There's no red here. Yeah. It's not Big Red anyway. I was just thinking of bringing it on. But either way.
You're thinking about my other curly wig.
Yeah, I was thinking about your other wig.
And while we're talking about zombie lines, I did find the Fred line that I like, which is, "Yo, the biatch," was like, "What?" And I was like, "Later on." I love that.
That shit was so good. What was the other thing? He was like, "What happened last night?" And he was like, "The Biz Liz went blah blah." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "I have no idea." Oh no. I just looked at myself and I didn't see Shaggy, and instead I saw Kyle Mooney from Y2K. If you know, you know. I'm very disturbed now. I don't feel good about it.
I only see Shaggy, if that makes you feel better.
Thank you so much. I
haven't seen Y2K.
Yeah, so. And his hair is longer. He's got
his
more
hair is
stuff
longer, and
going
he's got dreadlocks. And I thank God do not have dreadlocks, and I never will, and that's a promise.
Oh my God, you're such a good person.
Thank you. I love to hear that.
Thank God.
Oh my God, I really love the hijinks and hilariousness and like the classic Scooby-Doo-ness of the castle series of scenes too. Yeah. Like they try to like break out. They're trying so hard to break out of their old tropes, and then they can't quite do it yet. And I think it's fun to see them like try and feel like Daphne's like trying so hard. And then like, it's not her fault that cart hit her. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing she could do. Thank God she didn't get stabbed to death. Scooby and Shaggy aren't trying to be anything different than themselves, and they're perfect. And they never were.
Yeah. And they never
need to. Yeah. But Fred's trying. He went off with,
like, okay,
with
Velma. You can be on my team.
And he's like, "Don't worry, girl. I'll also fuck you." And he makes sure that he says that to her. And that is so sweet.
What does he say? He was
what
like,
a giver.
Like,
nerdy chicks like you turn me on too.
I turned to Taylor and I was like, "Don't worry, nerdy dudes like you turned me on too." And I was like, that's gonna be like a words of affirmation all the time. I'm gonna just say that to you all the time.
And it's beautiful and it's meaningful.
Exactly.
And maybe it didn't land for Velma, but I think in time she'll recognize that it was a very heartfelt sentiment.
I love
it's the best he can offer, okay?
Right?
He is who he is. Let him be who he is.
That's him really doing a lot right there, okay? He's still a himbo. He can't understand a woman's perspective. He got closer when he got inside of Daphne's body, but not quite. He wasn't there long enough, and that's later in the film.
A lot closer.
I can look at myself naked.
Oh, I'm really experiencing women's perspective now.
I think one of the like underrated best parts too is like the fucking video that they show all the newly possessed monster people or whatever, like teaching them how to appropriate weird black speak that doesn't exist. I don't even fucking know.
But that's where my favorite line of the movie comes from. And it's like, "Oh, hey, sorry, bro." And he's like, "I'm gonna pulverize your bones." And then it's like, what you should really do is, it's like,
the bones.
Hey,
and the dudes.
And he's like, "Oh, hey, sorry, bro. No big whoop, dog. Have you seen the vid in the box?" And I'm like,
he's like, "Yeah, I'm up to date on all pop culture."
I'm like, "I'm sorry, no big whoop, dog is about to be like somebody's like, oh, sorry, no big whoop, dog."
I really feel this movie Josie and the Pussycats unappreciated for their time, but perfect, and with so much they've got like weird slang that they're coming up with or kind of making up. They've got a video PSA to watch. They've got a blah 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 blah.
My favorite underrated part of that clip too is when the girl is like, "Hello, the language I'm speaking is English."
This is America.
This
and the
is
language I'm
America.
speaking is English.
It's so funny.
Which, if you're a monster from an island, maybe you don't know. Maybe you need that introduction. But they're learning fast, They're picking up that language like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no big whoop dog.
It's no big whoop dog.
One of the things that was weird watching this movie the second time after watching all the deleted scenes is like seeing perfectly where they were and how it doesn't totally make sense without it, because I think that the biggest tragedy of all time is the loss of Velma's song. Her song is the most incredible thing. When she's drunk at the bar, and Sydney mentioned this already, but she sings, let me look up what the song is.
Oh yeah, what is that?
She
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're Too Good to Be True. So this is a great part of the movie that we missed out. So in this last scene we were just talking about, Daphne gets the Damon-ritis. Love to say that. I want to say it all the time.
Damon-ritis? Great.
Damon-ritis, incredible.
It feels very 13 Ghosts, which is also why Matthew Lillard got cast in this role, because they saw him in 13 Ghosts and they were like, oh, he needs to be Shaggy. That's a Scooby-Doo-esque movie. We talked about that on that episode. And that was that steamrolled into this for sure.
The Damon-ritis is a reference for sure. Don't know this for sure for me, to the lament configuration from Hellraiser.
It feels right. It really feels right.
Yeah, I like when she's picking it up, I was like, imagine Daphne picks up the Damon-ritis and it's actually the lament configuration.
And the way like
Pinhead shows up.
Things spin and now I know
it has to do with demons.
I thought you were talking about 13 Ghosts still.
No, sorry, you said 13 Ghosts and it reminded me of the lament
shifting gears, the clock thing in the middle that turns, and blah 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 blah. That also, it does feel they're all three whispering.
They're all speaking to each other. It's intimate and it's gorgeous. But in this scene is when Velma is sitting at the bar and she's looking at the Damon-ritis, figuring out how it works, and that weird guy that's always around comes up and is like, "Hey girl, what's up?" And then she starts drinking, and I don't know if this is in the actual movie or just in the deleted scenes, but like she gets drunk off those drinks. They are they have no alcohol in them. They're virgin. They're virgin drinks. Yeah. Because I thought she got drugged, but then I don't know. She still might have.
Me at summer camp in the 4th grade being like, I'm getting crazy off this fruit punch right now.
We're getting crazy.
I'm gonna stand on this bench and I'm gonna dance.
It could have been Emil. What is his name?
Montevarious.
Or mononucleosis.
Mononucleosis. It does sound like nefarious. Whoa. I did like. Wow. It was crazy. But he is the one in the deleted scene who says those are virgin drinks, or in the actual movie, no one knows. And so we don't trust him. We already know he's bad. We don't know that yet, but we find out literally right after. They do one thing in this next scene that I think gives everything away, but whatever.
Yeah, him scratching
when he scratches out his neck. But anyway,
yeah.
In this part, obviously they would have always had to have the flashback to fucking Scrappy-Doo. And so that kind of takes up this moment of this flashback where she's like, hey, I'm talking about the past.
The good old days.
The good old days where she outs herself as lesbian. I don't care that she's talking to a man. And then there was Daphne. She was so beautiful. She was the coolest girl at Coolsville High, or whatever the fuck it was called. The way she said that was the gayest thing I've ever heard.
So I guess she's yearning.
She's yearning. And she also is giving a little bisexual because she also seems a little swoony about Fred, but less. Like 1% compared to the 100% for Daphne, or the 99% for Daphne. But, immediately in the aftermath of this, in this deleted scene, she's drunk as fuck and she sees Daphne walk down that dramatic staircase, and we see this in the original movie too. And also in this deleted scene, it was already retooled to make it less gay than it originally was, because when they shot it originally, Daphne's walking down the stairs and she starts singing this song directly to Daphne, and it's very, very clear that this is like a love song to Daphne. But then they retooled it even for the deleted scene where they have Fred walking down at the same time. So I think that makes it not make sense. So that makes sense why they got rid of the scene completely, because it's just kind of confusing unless you're really going into the throuple thing. But she literally is like crooning, rolling around on top of the piano as the fucking bald evil guy plays the piano and is singing, "You're just too good to be true. I can't take my eyes off of you," to Daphne. That would have been amazing.
Heaven to touch. I
wanna
hold
you so much.
I've never been so compelled by something as Velma and Daphne being together. And
honestly, I guess I could wait to talk about this in the segments later too, but I'll just talk about it now because I want to.
Go for it.
You see that with Daphne a little too in the beginning. It's like, oh, if Velma quits, well, it's like, well, I was gonna quit, but she just like, you see the way that everybody is like, Daphne's the hot bitch and Velma's just some invisible nerd. That's not the way that Daphne thinks. Daphne also has Velma on a pedestal where she's like, ugh, if I do what Velma does, everybody's just gonna think I'm copying her because she's so smart and wonderful and I could never be like her. Like, there's this very like mutual admiration and I want to be like you and I could never be like you, and it's like they haven't realized yet that they can both be like special and wonderful in their own way, and that both of them have value, but there's this like mutual like, I wish I could be like that.
It's beautiful. It's really sad that we lose that part, but 2002, it is what it is.
They weren't ready for it.
Nope.
They weren't ready for it, but
we were.
But we were.
But yeah, I think that my favorite part of the entire movie is the morning after shit hits the fan, though, because I'm obsessed with Sugar Ray's part in this film.
Yes.
Just like my eye just twitched because I'm overwhelmed. Like, oh my God. And I forgot that Mark McGrath like gets to like really freak it too, like that's the lead singer of Sugar Ray. He like gets to like climb the building and smash the guitar through the ceiling and all of that shit. Also,
the whole band gets like
the whole band.
They were having the best time. And he's so hot even with his spooky eyes, and I think Sugar Ray is an incredible band, and all of their songs are like some of my favorite songs. I was like walking down the street like jamming to like is it I Just Wanna Fly? Is that them? Yeah, Fly.
Oh, and every morning, that's the one I really like. Shut the door, baby. Don't say a word.
I have two songs that like when I am like so miserably depressed, I play because it just like boosts my serotonin. And one of them is Closer by the Chainsmokers. Don't ask. Don't know why, but
I wish I didn't know that about you, but I love you so much. That's my literal least favorite song in the entire world. Let's move on before we fight.
I don't know what it is, but I'm like, okay, let's go. And then
I'm glad that it helps you.
When It's Over by Sugar Ray.
It's a good reason for it to exist.
Yes.
Just my second one. And so I'm like, when like I can always tell if I've had like a bad mental health year because those two songs are always in my like top played on my Spotify rap.
And when you go, I know. We're singing so much this episode.
It's a musical. All the things that I used to say. All the words that got in the way.
Do you guys remember? I need to return to the early aughts when we would be listening to these songs while roller skating. You know what I mean? Like that really.
Oh, that was never me. I can't roller skate. I'll fall down.
I love roller skating.
You never had Skateland birthday party or anything?
Yeah, I went to that. I was better then. Sorry, I can't hear you because I started blasting Words to Me by Sugar Ray. Where I wanna get up.
Sugar
It's
Ray
so
fucks.
loud. I didn't expect it to be that loud, but I was like, honestly, bye.
Honestly,
Signing off.
that's fine
I
with
gotta
me.
go
Goodbye.
listen to Sugar Ray. After that, I'm gonna listen to The Simple Plan. What's new, Scooby-Doo?
Dude,
I'm
we're
coming
coming
after
after
you.
you.
Gonna
Gonna
solve
solve
that
that
mystery. I'm having the best time. What's next? What happens? What do you
Oh.
guys want to talk about now?
Let's not forget their four-wheeler chase, and the four-wheelers have tails.
Oh, I do love when he's like,
Oh.
"Yikes," and Shaggy's like, "You're right, yikes," and it's like, "No,
Oh.
yikes."
Bikes!
Yeah, and they escape. That's fun.
And then
That's
they get
super
married.
fun.
They get Mary Jane. She gets big
Eugene, she
bonked.
hops
We
on.
found out she's bad guy.
She's bad. Oh, that's the question that I wanted to ask.
She's not a man in a mask.
Mask?
Here's my question.
Yes.
Both Mary Jane and unnamed Led Zeppelin shirt man. Mostly let's talk about Mary Jane though. Do you think she was always an Oogie Boogie? Or if not, when did she turn?
I think right before we see her as a monster in that scene where they've
When
separated,
she's
that's
like,
when
I
she
saw
gets
my friend
turned.
Beth
She comes back,
Ann
she's
and
like,
her
"I
eyes
saw
were
Beth
so
Ann."
weird.
Yeah.
That's what I think too. But then
I was
there's part
watching
of
for
me
that
that
on
was
my
like, was
rewatch,
she
and
a
that's where I was like,
sleeper cell the whole
could have
time
been.
because she zooms in on Shaggy
Shaggy.
like immediately and that guy zooms in on
Velma.
Velma immediately. So I
Yeah.
wasn't sure. I feel like
Yeah,
it
but
could
then
go
they're
either
like
way.
involved with each other afterwards a little
Yeah.
bit. Like
So-
Their physical chemistry went beyond the astral plane. I don't know what I'm saying.
it was unmatched.
I definitely, when I was watching this movie the first time this week, the last time I watched, I think we watched it during the pandemic with our OG spooky crew.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, that was the last time
No
I had
memory.
watched this, and I hadn't watched it in like a really long time before that. And honestly, I was kind of like almost dreading watching it this time because I was like, I don't know that I like this movie that much, and thank God I was wrong.
Thank God,
But
or you would have been
thank God
ripped
I
to
was wrong. I
shreds
know.
this episode.
Thank God I was
Yeah.
wrong. But I was like, I think she is like a monster the whole time. And then when they have their bit at the end, I was like, okay, no. And like, I see your argument. She does like go straight to them, but Shaggy,
But
she
they're
does try
both
and
really
like
hot and
extricate
cool.
herself and leave. And Shaggy's the one being like, no, like you stay. I'm in love with you, Scoob. Grandma can leave and go visit his friend Velma. Like he's
Mhm.
being like, you stay here and I will win you a dismembered stuffed head from the claw machine, which is an
Oh my God, that's so
underrated skill.
romantic. That was so
Mhm.
romantic.
I
Wow.
want a stuffed severed head.
Doll
Nobody's
head.
ever
I
won
was
me
like,
a
this
Nobody's ever
is
won me
very.
that before.
This is very. It's both on its face. It's Sydney coded, but if you really know me, you know it's also Monica coded because that's what our Sydney and I's relationship is based off a shared love for
Weird
curios and
taxidermy.
taxidermy. Just
That's
so
so
you know,
beautiful for you guys.
it's really nice. But I just fucking adore how fucking weird everybody acts once they've been changed. And the one scene that I was alluding to earlier that was deleted where we miss out on seeing Linda Cardellini's hot bod. Because it's kind of weird we get that great scene with Fred being, you know, not himself. We even
Monster-fied.
get a Daphne scene for a second later on where she's not herself. But we don't get Velma, and that's because they cut it out because it was too sexy because they were trying to make it less racy. Because she's just in a fucking. Because she's not even in this outfit in the later
She's not
scenes.
even
It's
in
a
her sexy
reshirt.
Velma outfit.
She was in a sexy orange bikini in a
Ooh.
locker room,
Oh.
and she's like queening out with all these other girls. And then
Okay,
Daphne
you little
comes
lesbian.
Slay.
Yeah. Daphne comes in and is like, "Hey, Velma, what's going on?" And Velma's like, "Blah blah blah." Blah. And they're like, she's like, "What happened last night?" Similar kind of vibe, something like that. And then Velma does this horrifying scream. She's like, "Oh, you know what I can do?" And then she does this like crazy fucking like banshee scream, which I think they would have CGI'd the nasty green smoke to come out of their mouth, but they didn't do it yet.
For the
And
deleted
then
scene. Yeah.
Daphne runs out and like locks all those girls in the locker room and runs away. And then you see the tail end of that in the movie when Daphne comes out the door and she locks another exterior door, and then immediately she gets got by the luchador man. So that was like on the tail end of the deleted scene. So it's so interesting to see exactly where all of them were precisely.
Would have fit in.
Yeah, it's really interesting. But that's a loss because Linda Cardellini looked hot. She looked incredible.
Linda
really great.
Cardellini
She had her
wants to
little
play gay in
flippy
every
hair.
role so bad.
There was so much tension between them too, because that was the other part about this. Sorry, Daphne was like kind of like, it seemed a little flustered seeing her like that, seeing her all sexy, seeing Velma all sexy.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I knew
At
that
least
Velma
that was
was
my
hot, but I didn't
interpretation.
know she was a hot bitch.
Yeah. Anyway.
It awoken something in Daphne, one might say.
Uh-huh.
Something she'd been repressing for a long time.
I think that Scooby is so sweet, and I think
He's the
that
only
it's-
pure soul.
He's
I love
willing to
that
make
he's
a
the only pure
sacrifice.
soul. A sacrifice. He has no
sacrifice?
idea what it means. He has no idea what he knows the word hydrocolonic, but he doesn't know the word
Well,
sacrifice.
he only a little bit knows the words hydrocolonic. He gives it his best effort. He doesn't really know it.
He knows it. He just has an accent, and I think that's very rude of you, Chelsea.
Yeah, he's a
but-
dog. He just has an accent.
He doesn't know the word sacrifice because he doesn't have to know it because he's
never
he's
needed to.
safe.
He's just a
he's
little
usually
dog.
very safe. He's
He's
just a
just
little
a
little
baby.
He just wants the burger.
Fun little puppy.
Just a little puppy who wants the burger.
Oh,
Oh,
also,
Unlike Scrappy, who's not even a puppy, he just has a gland disorder.
I was literally just about to be that. I was like, can we talk about the Scrappy flashback scene where he pees on Daphne?
Where they do a little piss
Dude,
play.
There's so
Yeah,
much
piss
kinky
play
shit
and-
in this movie. Even though they made this less racy, I was like 100% that was a golden shower sex thing.
You were marking your territory. I have a gland issue.
I think it's the most hilarious and perfect twist in the entire world that it ends up being Scrappy-Doo. That
It's
James
so
Gunn,
funny.
give him the Oscar for best screenplay just for that.
Well, it's so funny because Scrappy is kind of annoying. And he's also
Scrappy-Dappy-Doo!
there's plenty of Scooby-Doo without Scrappy, and so when
Yeah.
he's not there in the film, it's like not
Thank
crazy
God.
that he's not there, but also Scrappy is present in so much of Scooby-Doo that it's kind of like, oh, they're not doing Scrappy in this movie. Like, it's noticeable that Scrappy is not involved until he pops up in the flashback. But it also
I couldn't have
kind
cared
of like
less that he
flies
wasn't
under
in it.
right. So it's like a very interesting, like in the know, in the family, in the franchise twist to be like, oh, if you notice Scrappy was missing, that's actually on purpose because he's been a bad boy.
Yeah.
And guess what? He's gonna continue to be a bad boy. But James Gunn apparently, to some degree, regrets making Scrappy the villain because he was like, I didn't know he's like us. He's like, I didn't know Scrappy had fans. I didn't know people were.
Oh, he
out here being
pissed off
shooters
the
for
Scrappy fans?
Yeah.
Oh
That's so funny.
no.
Of course there's some
He's like, I
Scrappy
wouldn't have
fans.
done that to them if I had known. It just never occurred to me that
People like
Scrappy's got fans.
Scrappy.
We talked
Taylor
about this
is a
for
Scrappy fan, and I was like, no.
Taylor.
There's
keep
a
that to
rumor
yourself.
For IMDb trivia that Tim Curry, a longtime fan of Scooby-Doo, as I'm reading, Tim Curry was supposed, this is again a rumor, not true, but there was a rumor that Tim Curry was supposed to play Emil Mondavarius, Mr. Bean's character, but the rumor is that he dropped out when he found out Scrappy-Doo was part of the movie.
Why? For hatred of Scrappy Doo or as a Scrappy fan?
As an
Fuck
unadult.
that, I am out. And
That's
James
so
Gunn has
funny.
gone on the record for IMDb trivia. I didn't find anything on the record, but I didn't look. James Gunn has gone on the record to say that's not true. Somebody made that up, but it is very funny that somebody made that up.
I choose to believe that.
Tim
actually,
Curry.
I choose to believe that Tim Curry was like, if that's the direct. Actually, though, if he was a Scrappy hater, you know what I mean. That would have been like an instant sign on. Unless he's such a hater that he's like, can't even touch it.
He's like,
I
I don't
just
want
love,
my
like-
character
I don't
turning
even want
into Scrappy
any of
Doo.
my movies playing in the theater while this movie is also in theaters.
Yeah.
The idea of the niche fucking
Scrappy
like,
fans.
like ride or die thing that Tim Curry cares about is fucking Scrappy Dappy Doo. Is an iconic thought.
Scrappy Cornelius Doo. Also, this is the like first movie where like Shaggy's name is revealed as Norval.
Norville.
And Scooby is Scoobert.
Scoobert. That makes
Which is
sense.
beautiful.
It's from the 60s, of course. It can't. Its name just can't originally be Shaggy. It has to be
Right? Something whack.
This was my one axe to grind with this movie, and we already brought it up, but like, if only they had made that tell for Nefarious. What's it? Mondavarius. Emil Mondavarius doing the neck scratch. If only they had done that like 5 minutes later. The fact that it's like literally immediately after the flashback is super frustrating, but I think that's another, because I just think it makes it too obvious, and it's
I missed
just
it entirely, so some of us
I thought
are
it
out
was
here.
Well, Leo did say that I'm the observant one, so thank you.
You missed the Mary Jane joke. I missed this little scratchy.
I just thought he
we
really
can't all
liked that
get
name.
Everything.
No, that was
You
not
just
for
thought he
me
was
not
doing a
being
flirt.
observant.
Yeah,
That's for me
completely.
not being a cool stoner girl.
Right.
So add myself as a lame normie.
Boo.
Anyway,
Lame normie.
But another reason why they should have had the Velma singing part, I think that would have come between the flashback and when he scratched
Space
his
it out a
neck.
little.
Yeah, there you go.
So that would have solved my problem. So if you just made it more gay, everybody would have had a better time. And that's
Everybody would have been
always
fine.
the way that it works, actually, in case you wanted to know. Also, do you think that this movie is the reason why I love Lucha Libre so much?
Yeah.
Maybe.
This like
cut
instilled
to
that
this top
And the
tits out
Jack Black
top.
movie.
I never saw Nacho Libre.
You
I've
never
never
saw
seen
Nacho
Nacho
Libre?
Libre.
So it couldn't
I've
be
never
that.
seen Nacho Libre, so it was this. Like
I
this
do
was
think
my
they
exposure.
did luchador stuff in Hey Arnold as well.
I didn't watch that much Hey Arnold either. Huh.
Wow.
I don't know. I watched I didn't really participate in pop culture in Y2K. It took me like 6 years after everybody else
Circle back.
to start listening to Britney Spears. And that's on having old parents. So they make you a little bit lame, but ask me anything about the 1960s music scene and I can tell you, no, I can't, but I can sing all the songs. But my skill actually is that I know every single old song that horror movies convolute to make it into a spooky song. I'm like, I love that song.
I
'Cause
love
do.
that song.
I used to listen to that with mommy. I think that the end of this movie is fucking hilarious too, because one of my favorite moments is when they're trying to do their plan. It's a really good plan, and it involves the most important piece of prop property in this entire film, which is the spooky disco skull.
Yes.
And
I've
seen
those.
a video
So important
online
that
of
they
people
didn't
making
just
them.
let it be a highlight, but they were like, let it be a plot point as well.
Yep.
It's so important. It's so important. And I love that they have that. I love that when you are one of these monster people, you know that dance and you know that cunty song.
Oh no,
Because it's a cunty song.
And they're like chanting, "This is what these creatures say."
It's like it's something. And then I
When
break
Shaggy
your
fights
leg.
the guy by just like trying to do the dance.
Right?
That was so
Love that.
funny. That was so good. And I love Scooby and Shaggy's like earnest little chat as he's like convincing Scooby not to be
A
fucking
sacrifice.
sacrifice. And he's like,
And then
okay.
Scooby gets got. He's like, "We're gonna count to 5."
Because they're
1,
notorious
2.
scaredy cats, so of course they'd make it 5, not 3. But also, they only got to 1, so I don't think it would have.
It wouldn't have mattered.
Yep.
Wouldn't have really done anything either way. Ugh, it's beautiful.
Well, and then, we find out it's uh Scrappy. And then Scrappy becomes so unsettling. Like at first he's like
I hate
big
it.
body, little head, and then at the very end it's little body, big head. And I was like, I hate this. I hate every second of this.
The eyebrows.
Yes.
The eyebrows. Why?
He was like, I don't like it here.
That's pretty rough.
I don't know if I'm really liking Spooky Island.
I really like it at Spooky Island.
Lily's starting to like it here at Spooky Island.
Okay, I got her. Daphne's here, and she's wearing her Scooby-Doo
There
scarf.
she is.
There it is. Show it.
Beautiful. Oh,
She's
kitty,
called
kitty.
Daphne because she has green eyes, and Daphne wears purple, but she also wears green. People don't think about that, but it's true. And
got her
also
little scarf.
because she is regal and beautiful, and hold on,
She's got
She
like
got go-go
kinky
boots
go-go
on.
boots. She's got go-go boots. Anyway, she hates me right now, but I had to prove to you that I have a
She
cat
has
named
to
Daphne.
learn how to do things for fashion.
I love you.
Daphne does not want to be manhandled by Shaggy, and you know what? That's not in character.
Give her to me.
She doesn't like to be a captive, okay?
She's not a damsel in distress.
She's not. She knows kung fu. She fights just like that Daphne does. That Daphne's a fighter.
Right?
Well, she tried to get away from me, and it pulled the scarf, so it's over one of her ears, and now she's really pissed, and she won't let me. Oh, she fixed it herself. You're so
Oh my
smart, and you look so fashionable and
God.
beautiful, like an angel.
Practically perfect in every way.
I'm glad that none of us dressed up like Daphne, because I'm gonna do an image side by side of Sarah Michelle Gellar's Daphne and my cat.
Okay.
That's what's gonna happen next.
Stunning.
He's so, but more to the Scrappy Doo thing. Disgusting. I hate the way that it looks, but it looks so like high def compared to the monsters. Like the monsters look not as well done, and then Scrappy is like so intense. But I guess that's the big bad.
Scoobypedia is calling him Scrappy Rex in that scene.
He does look like a
Yes.
T-Rex. The eyebrows thing I was just talking about.
The like prominent.
And the underbite.
Yeah, there was a moment in this movie too where I was like, okay, I'm glad that they made this a little less terrifying with the demonic possession, blah 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 blah. Because when Scrappy takes in all those souls, I was like, 500 people just died. I was like, do they just die? Do I not remember that all those folks just fucking die? And then luckily they
Well,
all get released later.
yeah.
Thank God that
I
that's how that works. It doesn't make any fucking sense, but thank God that that's how that works.
Well, Daphne and Fred's souls go into each other's bodies, so we know going into a body does not necessarily.
But it's supposed to be like fuel to make his change, and he does make the change into this beastie. And that you would
Yeah.
imagine if the fuel is the
You're
soul,
burning the fuel.
then you're burning the fuel to make that happen. So
No,
maybe
he's just
actually a
using-
couple of them died.
No, he's just using all of the fuel. They're not like being burned. They're just filling him up because when he gets
Inflating him.
unplugged, they all go out.
Of course, it makes sense. He's like a balloon boy.
Exactly.
He's
He's
just like
big
the Luna
balloon.
Ghost, the original villain of this movie.
Wow.
It's a flash. It's a what is it? Foreshadowing.
Originally, the Luna Ghost was going to be at the end, and he was going to be like teased as the big bad for Scooby-Doo too.
That's why he's so big in the posters and such, because he originally had a much larger role than just the intro.
I have a
But it's-
question.
He slayed.
If sorry, I had big yawn.
I have a question.
Wait for it.
That reminds me of another deleted scene, actually.
All of those college kids that have left the island, like, and they're like
All
going
in the
about
wrong
in their
bodies.
thing, are they all in the wrong bodies? When they come out, are they back in their real bodies? And then are these monsters just like out and about? What happens if like one of those
They
souls
burn
is
in
like
the sun.
Yeah, but what if they find it in the middle of the night?
Those people
What
die.
if one of those people
They
is
die.
a cave explorer and they're deep, deep, deep in the cave system?
What if they're
and
doing the descent?
They set off a
Oh.
new descent. Yeah.
Like,
Oh
I have
no!
Oh,
That's how the descent happened. Oh my god!
Descent origin story. Never knew we'd figure it out.
I was thinking about the descent this
This
weekend.
is the prequel to that movie.
I think I really
It
like
technically
having
is.
facial hair. Just a side note about me.
I love that for
You're
you.
rocking the shaggy look.
I really like it. Also, I somehow got my leg stuck in my purse and now I'm stuck. Okay. Everything's fine. I'm not even high like Shaggy is all the time. I'm just bad at being alive and I knocked over my ring light. So things are going down. Also, I want to say that I'm sorry I'm eating this whole episode, but I'm just in character.
That is
But
a
also,
character. Oh my god,
I-
you should have said that in the beginning.
I know I went to, but then you guys were in the middle of saying smart things. So I was like, I'll save the dumb joke.
I'll save it for
never.
later.
Oh man. Yeah, I think that this is a beautiful film about learning to not take your friends for granted and to
Yeah.
not be set in your ways and to be receptive of feedback, but also to speak your mind. You know what I mean? So people know, they had a lot of pent up aggression and then they broke up, but then they came back together and they worked together much better this time. And they've all
It's
grown as
actually
people.
Just like 30 Days of Night.
yeah.
Yeah. That's so. I was gonna. Whoa, words out of my mouth.
Whoa.
Whoa. Don't elaborate.
Don't explain any further, actually.
Divorce drama, that's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Whoa. Chelsea eats that shit up. She loves it. I do hate though at the end that they're like, and everyone has their straight ever after. Bitch, I see through that shit. Come on.
Wrong.
I do love the beautiful, magnetic, hot, fiery, sexy chemistry between Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah, their
Yeah.
moment
The
is cute.
Cinderella story of, it's not necessarily a Cinderella story, but it's the greatest love story of our generation, maybe.
Yes. I love them. They're perfect to me.
They're so cute. Do we know who the third person was that was supposed to be meeting them for dinner who didn't show up and like that's the reason why they fell in love? You know about that?
No, I know.
They met on
I feel like we did talk
this was
about
my
this,
also point
yeah.
of research. They met on the set of I Know What You Did Last Summer,
Mhm.
and they did not fuck with each other at first. But then, while filming that film, Freddie Prinze Jr. drove Sarah Michelle Gellar to the gym, and it was a long drive, and they saw each other as humans, and then he said, "quote She's a cool chick." That's a quote. Not kidding. Not
That's
kidding.
very
This-
Fred of him.
Yeah.
very Fred. But no, this was still back in I Know What You Did Last Summer. And so then they were friends and they were really, really good friends. And they would hang out all the time. And then they were supposed to have a dinner with a third friend. And that third friend canceled. And then they went to dinner. And then
That third friend knew.
Sparks flew. Sparks flew. And things just happened. Quote Sarah Michelle Gellar. They made out. And then they fell in love. And they were dating for a year. And then they got engaged, and then this movie came out in June, and then they got married in like September of that year. It's beautiful.
I love
It's
that.
beautiful. And now they have at least two beautiful children, and they've been together 22 years, 23 years at some point
That's
in
wild.
2025. That never happens. They're so cute. They're so fucking cute together. I like follow them on Instagram and feel joy. It's a wonderful thing. It's worth it. I don't usually say that about following anyone on Instagram, but that's a good one. That's a good one to follow.
I don't think they've ever said who the third friend was. They just was a girl. All they said was like, "Oh, she missed her flight" or something like that.
Damn, maybe it was just someone who's not necessarily famous, or it was Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Who just knew?
She just
Could have been Rachel
knew.
Lee Cook. I mean, Sarah Michelle
Yeah.
Gellar
Yeah.
did a cameo in She's All That. So it could have been his co-star from that movie. who's supposed to be also the, once again, Scooby-Doo, Josie and the Pussycats connection.
Yeah. Sarah Michelle Gellar was there on set just randomly to visit Freddie Prinze Jr. and that's why she's in that cameo. And she like refused to say words on camera for some reason, and the director was like, I don't know why, but we respected her wishes. I've read a lot about this today and I'm sorry. This was half of my research. Half of it was gay shit, the other half was this, which we're almost ready for our segments, but I just have to say the hot pepper part at the end was really funny and I was happy.
I love the hot pepper part.
I love all the food shit. I think it's so interesting that they eat like they have pregnancy cravings.
Right?
When he's doing his metaphor in the beginning, he's like, we're like a banana split. Fred's the big banana. Daphne's
face.
the pepper and bubblegum ice cream. And Velma's
No,
the
the
sweet and sour
pastrami.
mustard sauce. Oh, thank you. I couldn't remember, so I was just kind of making
No,
shit up.
it's okay.
Sweet and
You
sour
killed
mustard
it. You
sauce.
killed
though.
it.
I think
I
that
just-
one was pretty close.
I would try pastrami ice cream for the record.
I would try pastrami ice cream.
Yeah,
Not
sounds
me.
good. I've had lobster ice cream. The lobster had freezer burn, so it
Oh.
wasn't that good. But the idea was there.
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready for our segment?
Yeah.
For our segments. Sorry, I did all the ad placements. You can cut this part out. And whenever we didn't say segments clearly, I shot myself in the face every single time. Please delete this part. Because that's how I found where to put the breaks without hunting around. And then also, I've learned every single way that that YouTube
The transcription.
thinks that I'm saying when I say gayer, care, gear, gayer, but GAER. Like I found all the different ways that it put it together, and there was a myriad of them. Anyway, so it's time to ask the age-old question: how could this movie be gayer?
Well, they could give
And
us the gay cut.
they could give us the
Yeah.
gay cut because we talked about
It's
it for
out
a
there.
second.
I know it exists.
But
they said
what
they
the
filmed the
gayest-
steamy Velma Daphne kiss.
And I
Well,
want it.
let's give a little context to that. So the reason for that kiss was in the context of the film is during the body swap scene, which is so fun, where their souls, I guess their souls are swapping, body swap, whatever, it works. Here's Daphne putting on a show for you guys, and basically Daphne and Velma's souls would not go back into the right bodies no matter what. Like it wasn't the like Damon Ritus flippity floppity thing and eventually they get back to where they go. And so then someone was like, I think you guys actually have to passionately make out. And that's how you
They're
get
like,
your
well,
souls back.
Worth
So
a
they
try.
literally did what Sydney was talking about. They're like, oh, do I make out with my partner that I love? I think also in the lore of the film, what James Gunn's intention was that because they were soulmates, that's why their souls got swapped. This is
They were
me
so
ad-libbing.
intertwined.
That has to be what it is. So they had a big, hot, wet, steamy make out, and then their souls go back into their correct bodies.
And finally,
that
everything just felt right.
Yeah, that happened.
They
That literally
kissed and
was
everything
on
just
screen.
clicked into place.
Yeah, that existed. Okay, I alluded to this earlier in the episode, but I was singing, I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I wasn't singing necessarily about this, but I was thinking about it. There is an article that I referenced for this film that
And
I
you
am
are.
talking really slowly because I'm trying to pull it up because that's the only one of my links that I closed. Isn't that so nice of me?
Because
The
you're like, I don't
only
want
one
to talk
that
about
I
it too
closed.
soon. I have to hide it from myself.
I found this article and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is the title of the article. Getting Jinky with It. How 2002's Scooby-Doo raised an entire generation of bisexuals. Exhibit A, Monica Height. Exhibit B, Sydney Thompson. I saw that and I was like, you're kidding. This is probably, because I don't even know when I saw The Mummy for the first time, but I know I saw this when it came out. So this is probably it. This is probably fucking
I
it.
did it.
Here's my thing.
This is what did it.
I was watching WWE wrestling before
Ugh.
this, and that is actually, I think, to me, because like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I've been getting a lot of Jeff Hardy.
I saw you
Content.
post that one.
You've been
Is that
getting a lot
him?
of
Exactly.
Mannheim Steamroller.
I don't know
content.
who that guy was. Mannheim Steamroller. Anybody remember our Santa's Sleigh episode? That's a little throwback to
I
that.
was thinking about that a lot over the Christmas season.
It's time for Mannheim Steamroller. You better get steamroller. If you don't know what's going on, you should listen to that episode.
From her hurt feelings. She did not like that joke last year.
I forgot about that because I just thought about how I love it. Who's the real WWE guy that you like? I'm
Phil
sorry,
Goldberg.
Sydney. We
Oh,
steamrolled
sorry.
you.
That's the guy
For
from Santa's
me,
Sleigh. Yeah, you
Jeff-
go back to Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy, he is so sexy and would
Looks
wear
like the Joker.
but like he would like dress up, he'd paint, but also there was women in it. And
There
so
was women?
Oh yeah. And
Don't
so-
even tell me there was women. I'm
and-
sorry.
And they would like, and
I've
had-
seen the women who are in the ring.
and
and I
so
liked it.
child me would have like printed out photos like from my computer of like the women of like WWE along with the men of WWE, and I would just look at them all the time, and I
That's
was like,
so
how did my
cool.
parents not know?
I had a printout of Ty Peddington on my wall. just from the Extreme Makeover Home Edition. So that's the difference. That's the difference between being cool when you were young. I can't believe I admitted that. I also had Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day. So it wasn't
Yeah.
just Ty Peddington.
That's
but
a
it was
Oh my
bisexual
god, you can
icon.
take multitudes.
Billy Joel Armstrong, bisexual icon, baby.
I can't believe I can't show my face again. after saying that.
You have to just stay Shaggy forever so that you
Did-
never have to really
Okay,
own up to
but
this in
Monica,
your full
did
Monica.
you have a
ness.
picture of Mannheim Steamroller?
No, because I hadn't come up with that hilarious joke yet. I'm crying.
Don't take credit for my
Oh, is that your joke?
joke.
Oh, sorry.
Chelsea's joke. You
did
were
I
so
thought it was-
mad at it.
You did not like it.
I didn't like it.
You did
Yeah,
not
because
like
you
it.
were like, "Do you know who Mannheim Steamroller is?" And I was like, "Is he a wrestler?" Because I'd never
pro
heard of.
wrestler.
My best
Okay, well,
dad.
I feel bad for you that you hadn't heard of the beautiful dulcet tones
I
of
had
Mannheim
heard
Steamroller.
Steamroller's music, just nobody had ever been like, "This is Mannheim Steamroller."
Well, I love the joke now, and I thought you were saying that
You're like,
Sydney
"Oh, I'm
didn't
going
like
to
that
see
joke.
Mannheim Steamroller. Do you know who that is?" And I was like,
Pro wrestler.
"But I knew you like
Mannheim
luchadors," and it just felt like
No, I wasn't cool. I didn't like fucking WWE. Mommy and Daddy would not let me watch WWE. I watch Extreme Makeover
Only watch
Home
Ty
Edition.
Pennington. But it is just as extreme.
It's very emotional. Anyway,
will
we're supposed
say-
to be talking about this movie,
But-
Begar.
I think Shaggy is ace. Shaggy's asexual.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
I think there is
I hate when
room
they-
for demisexual Shaggy where like he can have romantic entanglements, perhaps even, you know, those develop into sexual relationships down the road. But I just don't think that is like
That's not his
the way
main
he's
prerogative.
vibing out
Yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah,
Like he
he
wants
likes
food.
to
He wants
eat
to hang out
food.
with his pet dog
Yeah.
and just like exist, right?
And that's
Like,
enough
he's-
for him.
Yeah.
And vibe out.
If
and I
something
love
else
that for
comes
him.
in, you know, great, but that's not something he's like wanting and yearning for.
Mhm.
Exactly. Is it in the sequel to this movie that they try to make Velma? They don't try to make Velma and Shaggy happen in this, right? In the second one. No,
don't-
they have.
I
'cause
wanted
Seth-
to watch the
Seth
second one after I
Green's
watched
in
this
the
one,
second one.
but I was like, I don't want to get confused for the episode.
Seth
so let
Green
me-
is the love interest in the second one,
That's
which
very
I love
Buffy as
him.
well.
But I was about to
I
say
know.
that seems very gay. So
Yeah.
We all
But
know what
no, it's-
happens when you're the nerd girl and you're dating Seth Green.
Green. Gay.
Well, also, the one thing I don't like about the new iteration of Scooby-Doo that you like a lot, Sydney, is I think
Scoob?
they have not Scoob. I'm not gonna watch that shit. Ew. Sorry, I'm being the bitch, but they snubbed my man, and so it's
Yeah.
panned. It's
Here's the
panned for
thing.
life.
they try to make like Velma and Shaggy a couple, but he's
In
like
that's what I was getting.
in
They
Mystery
try to do that
Incorporated, but
in Mystery
he
Incorporated.
keeps choosing Scooby, and Velma keeps getting mad, and he's like,
Yeah.
"You
Isn't there
can't be with
one?
my dog."
Isn't
Not
there one, and it might be
Velma.
that one where it's like they do try to make them a couple in the show at first, and then later it's like Velma is gay. She just wasn't there yet.
She like isn't thing, but she has a really intense relationship with a girl named Hot Dog Water, who is voiced by Lisa Cardellini.
Lisa,
Wow,
Linda
Linda.
Cardellini.
I
Linda.
inceptioned your mind and I put
Monica.
Lisa in
Monica,
there. I'm sorry. It
I'm
was my
so
fault.
susceptible.
I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm sorry.
so
That's on me. That's on me.
susceptible.
I'll take responsibility for that. And I'm also mad at Past Me. My cat is being so cute. Sorry. I'm mad at Past
Haley
Me
Kiyoko
for
also
not
does
liking
Velma at one point.
the Mannheim Steamroller joke because it's really funny.
Because
I'm
it's
sorry.
so good.
It
I
was
think
so
you
funny.
were offended on their
Great
behalf,
bit.
and I understand your need
Well,
to defend.
I had just seen Mannheim Steamroller and it was really
You
good.
felt passionate. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
really fucking good. Me and all the old people in the audience were really vibing out. But anyway, also there's that TV show Velma, and
Oh, yeah,
that's
I think
with
she's gay in
the
that
Mindy
one, but I've
Kaling
never
one, and
watched
she
it.
She's
is gay in
bisexual
that.
one, and so is Daphne.
Ooh, but I heard that there are some qualms with that one. I have not
Yeah,
watched it.
people.
There are qualms.
I've watched like 1 or 2 episodes. People have like issues because like, but I don't know why. I think it's because
They
like
don't
they're
like.
not white kids doing like they're like people
A
of
lot
color.
of
I don't know if
people's
it's.
criticism was kind of like, this seems like it was a show made for people who actually hate Scooby-Doo and
Yeah, it's
want to be
not.
making fun of
Fun of
Scooby-Doo,
it.
which is weird because it's a Scooby-Doo show. So like,
It
in
wasn't
theory,
like
you made this for fans of
staying
Scooby-Doo.
true to the things from Scooby Doo that you would expect them to stay true to. Like you can do a new spin, but it was like
Like,
spinning
weird.
it
I know.
so much away.
It
I
got
didn't
a
know
lot of shit.
self-loathing like that. That makes me sad. Cause like you should be able to, have like was she an Indian American
And I think Daphne was
Velma?
like Asian, and Shaggy was black. I think, and Fred was white. Fred was like the only white character.
That's
They
a
were like,
white
we keep
man.
him a white straight
Yeah.
guy.
That's a white man. Yeah, no, Fred looks the exact same.
Yeah,
I'm
like
looking at it right now.
It's interesting, in the one where Haley Kiyoko plays Velma, Fred is played by Robbie Amell, and he is brunette. And it's like,
Yeah.
that man is blonde. That man
is
wants to
blonde
be a blonde.
for always.
In this movie, in this 2002 Scooby-Doo, it was like Freddie Prinze Jr. had to shave his head after filming because the bleach killed all of his hair. And I was like,
His
that wasn't
hair
a wig because it does not look like it's his hair.
Right?
It looked fucking freeded. It looked freeded to shit. So that doesn't surprise me at all. I was like, is it the hairspray? Ooh, Wanda Sykes is in the Velma show. And Melissa Fumero. And Constance Wu. Too bad it wasn't
Yeah,
good.
she plays Daphne.
And Jane Lynch.
I love Jane Lynch.
Wow. There's a lot to take in here. Anyway.
I'm sure
Yeah,
it's a rich tapestry addition to the overall lore,
Yeah.
but can't speak to it.
Not all of them can be perfect.
2002 Scooby-Doo.
There's been so many fucking entries into the Scooby-verse. And so they can't all be winners. But 99.9% of them are.
Yes. All of them
And
are
I would let in
incredible.
this essay, I will argue that Monsters Unleashed was good. But no, actually, that will be another episode. Not as good as this one. This is the most perfect movie of all time. Any
Okay,
other
but-
gay thoughts?
So many more gay thoughts.
But actually,
I'm not. Yeah, but they're secrets.
they're
But
secrets.
in
yeah,
the immortal
I mean,
words of Homer
the
Simpson.
immortal words of Homer Simpson. The gay thoughts are secret. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot in the text that's on the screen. There's a lot in the text that didn't make it to the screen. There's a lot that we can bring in our own experience.
There's a lot of
That
lore
is
text.
that is not a friend group. That is a polyamorous quad.
That
Couldn't
is
agree
a
more.
group of bisexual teenagers who are in love with each other.
Who are exploring each other's bodies and
And even
Yep.
if Shaggy is not like
solving
fucking any of
mysteries.
them because he's asexual,
involved with
even
them,
he's
though.
involved. Yeah, he
He's
is
the
in that
voyeur.
relationship,
He's the
and whatever
heart
they
of
do
that
within that
polycule,
relationship, that's
okay?
their business. Okay.
Yeah,
He's the heart of the polycule.
he's the heart. He's the heart and soul.
He's the heart and the
everybody's.
stomach.
He's what
Yes.
is it? What's the term? Oh fuck. He's everybody's primary. There
Yeah.
you go. I remember
He's
the
the
terms.
bottom bitch.
He's everyone's
Cute.
primary. Okay. Actually, though, any more gay thoughts?
No.
No. Oh, I have one more deleted theme. See. I'm having a really hard time. Deleted scene. I did it. How many times will I cry this episode?
I was like, are you okay? Are you having a stroke?
I really just couldn't stop lisping. Anyway, there's another deleted scene where I guess it might have made it less gay because it made it look like Daphne was sucking a ghost dick. Because they show Daphne getting her soul taken out, and then like by the like little claw hand thing that takes out your soul, and then they show one of the monster guys getting into her body, and it was just like talk about racy. It was like her with her mouth open and like passed out. It was like very it was horrible. It was horrifying, and it was
Okay,
very
I'm glad
very
that got cut.
sexual.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank God for Sarah Michelle Gellar's take cuz for just for her life, because the screenshots and the edits of this would have been
Would
fucking
have
horrific.
gone
It was like,
insane.
it's me
Daphne
thinking
is
that, and I'm
already
a nice
such a-
girl.
Yeah, she inspired so many fetishes already throughout history of people who want to tie somebody up or be tied up. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's let her live.
Let's leave it there. Yeah. Anyway, now it's time to talk about Matthew Lillard. It's his birthday after all.
It's
He's
his happy birthday,
55.
babe.
Happy birthday. Okay,
Happy
but where would Matthew
birthday.
Lillard fit in this movie? I don't know. There's no really perfect
Every
spot
could
for
be in
him.
Sugar Ray.
single-
Oh, yes.
He plays Mark McGrath. That's such a good idea. He's just he's so good in this. He's so good in this. And I love that he's the star. He's billed as
Okay.
he's top billed on IMDb.
Ooh.
There's one moment in this movie that I watched and I like audibly gasped. And Taylor was like,
Oh.
really? And I was like, and it's when they're switching bodies, and like Fred is in Matthew Lillard, and so but he's acting and he's like, whoa, and it's like his
Oh, he's
side
authoritative.
profile, and I was like,
Oh my god.
it
He's
was
so hot.
so hot.
I remembered
so
my
hot.
one.
Matthew Lillard really should play every role. What just happened?
He
My
should
thing
play
just
every
fell.
role. Also, it has to be said, and I asked my friend Tori, who is a huge fan of Fred again, and there is a thing online where people are like, "Wait a minute, did Fred again get his name from Scooby-Doo 2002?" Because there's that part when Daphne,
I'm Fred again.
I'm Fred again. Yeah, that's literally like, apparently there was like lore that he made up his name somewhere else, like based on like an interaction with a friend in the studio years ago. But he did a TikTok where he was like, actually, yeah, that's where I got the name from. And so that is now canon, literally, that Fred
makes me
again's
like
name
him
is
more,
from.
actually.
Yeah. So I just thought people should know because he's cool and that fucking rocks. That rocks hard.
That fucks so hard, actually.
I think that if we're doing time traveling Matthew Lillard, he would be really great as Emil Mononucleosis.
Yeah.
Nefarious.
Monteveria.
Mononucleus.
Listen here. I love when Fred is like, we have 3 suspects. This, and you.
He's like, don't worry, man. It's mostly just because you freak me out. And he's
right?
like,
You creep me
fair.
out.
It's so sweet of
Right?
him to be straightforward and honest, you know.
Fred is
So
perfect to me.
fucking funny. He's so perfect. I think that there should have been no Razzies and there should have been Oscars for Matthew Lillard. He's so
Yes.
good in this, and he is Shaggy. He is Norval
He
Shaggy.
is Shaggy.
Rogers.
That's Matthew
really
Shaggy
is.
Lillard, okay?
Yeah. God damn those Scoob bitches. I'll kill him. It's hard when Matthew Lillard's in the film already.
Yeah,
we
but
just get
he
to
could be in there
say
5 more times.
Besos, kiss you, love you so much.
Matthew
Okay.
Lillard for president.
Aw,
Dumb.
I bet he would have a really progressive platform.
I do
I
too.
think you would too. Okay, dumb bitch time. Dumb bitch.
Scrappy.
is
Yeah.
Scrappy Dappy Doo. But I will say,
Stop peeing
it
on
was-
bitches. Stop excusing your bad behavior because you've got other things going on. Everybody's got things going on. That doesn't mean you can pee on Daphne.
Also, you just like assaulted her by peeing on her, and then you get smashed into the window, and then immediately like he thinks that he could be like, here's the thing, you accept me as your unadulterated like leader. Blindly follow me into the future, or I'm leaving. That's a pretty
Bye.
easy fucking ask, dude. Obviously, get the fuck out. Obviously, I
Obviously,
don't
get the
care if
fuck
we're in the
out.
middle of the desert.
Obviously.
You can die out here. You just peed on Daphne.
That's
Nobody
very
pees on
fine with me if
Daphne.
you die out here. Yeah.
I think it's so funny that they're like, actually, he's not a puppy.
Right? He's just
actually
small.
Not even a puppy.
a dog with a gland disorder. Oh, so fucking funny. But yeah, he's the dumb bitch. But I will say it was a really good plan. Except for he underestimated those meddling kids like they always do. He fell
I
into
love
the
it.
classic
You son of a,
conundrum.
and then they slam it because he's about to say you son of bitches.
So good. So fucking
He's as
funny.
cute as a Powerpuff Girl, but he is evil.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time for knives out of fives, and I don't even want to hear this shit, but I guess shock me. Shock me with the
Yeah.
truth. I'm not
Look.
ready, but just lay it out for us, Chelsea.
Not everything can be perfectly appreciated in its time, you know. Sometimes things
People
grow.
don't understand art.
But yeah, and also, I mean, critic approval and audience approval isn't everything. This movie did well enough that they made a sequel, you know, so
Yeah.
that speaks for itself
And then
in
the
some way.
sequel ruined everyone's careers. What? Keep going.
However, yeah, on IMDb, this movie has a 5.3 out of 10. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 32% rotten from critics and
That's the part
40%
that I read.
rotten from audiences.
I could not
But-
believe that.
At the 2003 Kids' Choice Awards, guess what? It won
What?
favorite fart in a movie.
Wow. That part was
Honestly,
very
I'm so
impressive.
sorry. Fart jokes are always funny.
I love
and
fart
I
jokes.
stand by that. Fart jokes are never not funny.
Yeah. Yes, it won favorite.
gotta
And,
laugh
and they
at
did a great job because it wasn't just like a fart, you know what I mean? It was like
No, it
a
was,
fart
like, very
off. So they really
impressive.
justified how big it was and how
then he
far
has
they
that
went
little
with it.
extra fart later on
Yes, Scooby
where
has
it
that
lights
extra
the
fart.
fire. That was funny.
Because
I
now,
love
you
a
know, now he's
fart
got
on
gas in the
fire.
tank, okay? So
It's so good.
Yeah, he
It
swallowed
won
all that
favorite fart in a
air.
movie at Kids' Choice Awards. It was nominated for Best Virtual Performance for Scooby-Doo at the 2003 MTV Movie and TV Awards. And at the 2002 Teen Choice Awards, it got a whole bunch of nominations. It was nominated for Choice Movie Comedy, Choice Actor for Matthew Lillard for a comedy, Choice Actor Comedy Freddie Prinze Jr., Choice Actress Comedy Sarah Michelle Gellar, Choice Chemistry Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr., and
Ooh.
Choice Movie of the Summer. But that said, did also get nominations at the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards and the Razzies. So
Wrong. I refuse to acknowledge those.
I really literally can't understand it. And
I
I know that I'm a certain level of smart and my brain can't get there. I can't imagine
These
watching this
people don't
movie and
have
not liking it.
eyes.
I can't. I love to understand the human condition, but I can't do that. Okay.
This is where
I
they
can never
lose
put
me.
myself in those people's shoes.
well, you know, humor is subjective and art is subjective.
Don't
and
Not
defend
with
them,
this.
a movie
Chelsea.
can win Best Fart at the Kids' Choice Awards and also be nominated for Most Flatulent Teen Targeted Movie at the Razzies. I'm just saying, like, these farts contain multitudes.
Well, those people are dumb, and I don't
Those people
respect
are dumb.
them.
They don't get it, and that makes me sad for them.
These
but,
people are
you know,
stupid,
maybe
and
one
I
day.
don't respect them.
I don't respect them, quite
I do wonder how
honestly.
many of those people changed their tune over time. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, again, if you don't know who your audience is that you're speaking to, and you don't find your audience that you're speaking to, people are going to have a harder time understanding what it is that you're doing because they're not going to be able to contextualize it directly. Over time, with a second viewing, with a new fresh set of eyes, you can better appreciate what there was instead of what you expected it to be.
Maybe like what was going on in 2002 People were reeling from 2001. And so they're all in really fucking bad moods. And so it was like
the
me
nation is
when
still
I
in mourning.
watched it was like me when I watched Scream 4 and I was in a bad mood and I hated it. And then I watched it again and I was like, what was wrong with me? That was incredible. They just needed to watch it again that year, but they
Sometimes
didn't
it's
have
about
streaming and they
your
didn't want to buy the DVD
experience.
or the VHS. I don't know what
This was
probably
just
DVDs at that time.
9 short months after 9/11.
Again, it's
and
9/11
The
's
country
fault.
wasn't ready to
soon.
laugh.
And they had a part with a plane. That's
yeah.
what did it.
It
I'll
They
go
saw Grandma sneaking through TSA and they went, "This is not realistic, and I can't buy into the rest of the premise of this film."
Yep, that has to be it.
It's the
That
only
was the
thing that
nail in
makes
the
sense.
coffin. And
But
it
I
was
will
like
say-
15 minutes into the movie.
I give this movie 5 stars.
Okay.
Like,
Well, what
Is-
about Knives?
that's the same thing. 5 knives, 5 stars. It's perfect. This movie
perfect.
does it have flaws? Yes, and they're big ones. I don't care. It makes it perfect to me. Like, it gives it charm. It is funny. Like, I love going back and hearing all the weird little jokes that I was like, oh, didn't catch that when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
This is a banger. I love this movie. Love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Now I kind of want to. I've seen the second one, but I haven't seen it recently. I'm like, maybe I watch that.
Maybe
neither
that's
did I.
a
Not
that's
bad.
a tonight movie.
Yeah. I can't because I'm going to see Wolfman, but
Yeah, we gotta go
I'm
see
not.
that.
So
I'm coming in right here with you. 5 stars. I had a delightful time. I don't think that I watched this with you guys over the pandemic, and if
Maybe
I
you were
did,
busy.
you can tell me. I think I was busy because this was my first time watching it as an adult bisexual woman and being like, holy fucking shit, is this gay? Oh
Right.
my god. And this was the ungay cut. And it
this
was
is-
still
they tried to
right
straight
there.
it up, and it still was pretty gay.
It was just still like the
sometimes the source
pining
material, you
from
can't straighten
Velma.
it.
Yeah, exactly. You can't straighten that shit out. I had a delightful time. Guess what? This movie still fucks on 1.5 speed. I'll let you know that because I ran out of time to watch it
And
a
I'll
second
let you
time
know,
today.
I was watching on 1.4 today, and it still fucked.
It fucks hard. It's so funny. It's so of the moment. It like encapsulates what all of the like coolest people from 2002. It really like has them in this beautiful moment in time. Sugar Ray, the fucking the music. Pamela Anderson. There's Simple Plan on this. There's New Kids in Town. Solange. There's Solange
This
song.
soundtrack
Outcast?
is just such a sleigh.
Houdini. I don't know about Houdini, but they're on the soundtrack. It's unbelievable. It is impeccable. It has many flaws, like you said, and a lot of
Yep.
weird cultural appropriation.
Don't care.
Like those
I mean, I respect
weird Asian
the things,
bobbly
but-
head girls. Do you remember that? No,
Yeah.
you don't. Let's pretend that. No, we can't pretend it doesn't exist. It exists, and it's not good. But I love this movie, and I'm gonna keep the goatee. I'm not.
Honestly, I was about to ask, will you dress like
Are you
this
gonna wear that to
go
the
to
movie?
Taking the
Wolfman?
goatee. No, I can't wear these pants. I'm putting on
We could
sweatpants.
cosplay
These pants are too tight right now.
Shaggy and Mary Jane on a date.
Oh my god! Except I can't wear these pants out of the house because they're unbuttoned right now. So
Yeah, and we couldn't go without Scooby anyway.
yeah. And Daphne can't
Make
come.
Adam dress up as
Daphne can't
Scooby.
come to the.
Put
the
Adam's
movie
dog
theater.
mask on, Monica. Walk him like a dog.
Dear God. Chelsea, what's your score?
Chelsea would walk him like a dog.
I'm changing the fucking subject.
I will also I'll join you because I think it is like it's kind of like cursed, you know what I mean? Like the movie that they could
Yeah.
have made is like beautiful and perfect, but also to me, what got shaken out in the the whatever happened with this movie, the finished product also is perfect to me and in my heart because they did their best and they got put through the ringer and they still ended up with a gorgeous story of friendship and finding yourself and blah 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 blah. And it's just like fun, it's funny. I honestly don't really remember if it hit for me as a kid as hard as it hits for me as an adult, but I think it is kind of like a Josie and the Pussycats thing. You know what I mean? Like you just it comes to you when you need it most. Like you'll find it when it's right for you. And maybe it wasn't the first watch, but there's something really the alchemy of what came together here is beautiful and gorgeous. So I will also go ahead and give it a 5 knives out of 5.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I would have been a little bit pissed at any of us who didn't give it 5 knives, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
have
would've
said. I would have
thought.
probably said
It was
something.
we were in the danger zone at some points, but it's fine.
It's the perfect film. Anyway, but I'm so glad we finally did this movie, and we have been talking about it literally since the podcast began. So
Yep.
it feels really good to finally do this. And happy birthday, Matthew Lillard.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
but
birthday,
Matty.
Matthew Lillard.
We love you, Maddie.
Matty Lilly. Mwah.
Mwah.
But next week, we are moving on to another movie that has been maybe not one that we've been chomping at the bit to do, though I've been bringing it up a little bit, but our listeners have been chomping at the bit for us to do this movie. And
Recommended to us many times.
The reason that we haven't been is because I'm the only one who've seen it. I'm pretty sure. So that's why. So don't worry. Don't be scared that we're going to hate it or something. I've seen it and I liked it. But this is much requested, and so I hope you're fucking happy. I'm kidding, love you. Next week, we're doing the 2011 classic, You're Next. And I know, it's exciting. It's a fun one. I think you guys are going to like it a lot. And we'll also be joined by a very special guest this week. We met Joey Medina at a very fun event that we got to go to for the pod back in October when Tubi got access to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We went over there and we had a very fucking amazing night. I got a tooth gem. We made besties with everyone. And we met Joey, who's so cool. He is a writer. He works in marketing. He writes for Collider a lot of the time as well. And he is a big fucking fan of Your Next. So we talked to him. We wanted him to be on
He
the
was
pod.
very interested. We said, "What movie would you do?" He said, "You're Next," and we went.
And I was like, that's
people
so
been
funny.
asking.
Everybody wants
Because
it.
all
People
of
been
our listeners been
asking.
asking.
And maybe we need an expert guide.
We do need an expert guide, and he's just really fun and really fun to talk to. So I'm really excited to talk to him again. I'm excited for you to meet him, Sid. He's a really sweet guy.
Wait.
Yeah, so it's gonna be really, really fun. And yeah, so I just choked on nothing. And
Classic.
won't you say in a 5-star review, Monica, are you okay? That would be a great thing for you to put on Apple Podcasts. Or we've said this before, we'll say it again. On Matthew Lillard's birthday, the easiest way to tell him happy birthday is to write it in a 5-star review on our Apple Podcasts. So you
That's
can
where
do
he's
that.
looking. He's
We'll get
checking
it
in there to be
straight
like,
him.
did anybody say happy birthday to me this year?
Yeah,
Did
if you
anybody
don't put
have
it there, he's
happy
gonna
birthday
think that
wishes for me this year.
exactly. If you don't put it there, he's gonna think that you're not wishing him happy birthday, and God
Be really
forbid,
sad.
He's gonna think that you hate him.
He might
don't
cry.
let
No
Matty.
better.
Oh my
He
God,
could cry
you are making him cry on his birthday.
on his birthday.
You better go to Apple Podcasts and fix
On his
that right now with a
birthday.
5-star
Right now.
review. God, we're getting into emotional manipulation in 2025, and I
Hell
like
yeah.
it.
I've
Hell
been
yeah.
there.
True. Also, follow us on social media. We're at spooky_Tuesday on pretty much everything except for Facebook and Tumblr, where we are at Spooky Tuesday Pod. And if you go to spookytuesdaypod.com, that's your one-stop shop for everything Spooky Tuesday. Look at us being beautiful, learn information. It's got everything you could possibly want. We also are on YouTube, and that's the only way you're going to see over 2 hours of me with a goatee.
It's
You're
really
not going to
important.
see that
actually.
anywhere else. Also, we got a gorgeous Femme Fred situation going on here with Sydney. And then, of course, Chelsea is a very dashing Mary Jane. Oh my God. She looks exactly like her. It's crazy.
The wig could be blonder, but this is her in the winter months.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. She doesn't have sun in her hair at this exact moment, and that's what it is. So check that out on YouTube, and shouts out to anyone watching there. We've been getting some new subscribers, and it's really exciting to see. So welcome to the party.
Hey guys, hey.
Hey, hello. So at the end of the day, I have to say thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Bye, spookies.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Great18. That's GR818_. And our podcast art is by Ryan Brom, who you can follow on Instagram at Ryan Brom Art. That's RyanBrommArt. Learn more about Spooky Tuesday at spookytuesdaypod.com and subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/spooky_Tuesday.